things happening this weekend, and there's a lovely event happening today. It's a hospice coffee morning. It's a reminder that the Trinity and Trenta PW coffee morning and cake. Do you like cake? Okay.
Love the coffee. Scone. I'd be more inclined to have a scone with some butter. Yeah.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't necessarily go for the
That's good to know now when I'll bring in cake. A cake sale on today. It's in the lecture hall below Trinity Church, Letterkenny, next to AIB Bank on the main street. It's from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. and all proceeds go to the Donegal Hospice. So a cup and a nice slice of cake goes a long, long way. Maybe a scone for Greg Hughes. So come here. Did you
loads of butter on it?
Right. And then you're going to go with the jam, or you're going to go with the cream, or the cream and
that's
then
a good question.
See, but that's been debated, and it's always going to be debated, isn't it? Just have the butter, forget about the jam.
I don't know what I would do. Yeah, butter jam. It has to be done for me. I'm not going to do it myself, right? And it's just not that I'm lazy. It's
only when you go to somewhere posh that you see the cream. Sure, you have the jam at the house, the strawberry jam. Yeah. Would you have the scone with marmalade jam?
No, marmalade jam.
When's the last time you had marmalade?
Two different things, isn't it?
Oh, it's jam, isn't it?
Huh?
It's jam.
It's marmalade's marmalade and jam's jam, no?
No, but marmalade's jam too.
Is it?
No, come on.
I just thought, I didn't realise marmalade. I've never heard anyone say marmalade jam in my entire life.
Did you not?
No.
When you're talking to me.
I know.
Good luck.
Every day's a special day with you.
All right. Have a special
morning.
Have
a great weekend, Lee. Looking forward to see you on Monday. Look forward to you having fun at the bingo too, which I'm sure
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, okay, good stuff. It's 9 o'clock. Our Friday panel is going to join us very shortly. But first, let's get a news update. It's over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Defective Blocks Ireland says the multi-party legal action and related proceedings against the Irish state led by Coleman Legal remains a vital route to accountability and redress for families across the county whose homes have been devastated. The not-for-profit organisation formed in Buncrana by Adrian Sheridan and Sean Hegarty says proceedings are moving toward their crucial next phase. With more, here's Alex Rowley.
In an update, a spokesperson for Defective Blocks Ireland says Coleman Legal has confirmed that discovery has now concluded across 6 lead cases in the main litigation. The National Standards Authority of Ireland has raised queries on aspects of some material, and Coleman Legal is engaging directly with the NSAI to address all outstanding matters. Defective Blocks Ireland understands that a number of technical issues have arisen between the plaintiffs and the NSAI regarding testing methodologies applied to certain samples taken from Gransha Quarry. The NSAI issued a notice of motion in May seeking directions from the court in relation to these matters. It'll return to the court on the 8th of next month.
A vote will have to take place before a nitrates derogation can be extended for Ireland. The European Commission has proposed to extend the derogation by 3 years, but it's not yet a done deal. The Nitrates Committee will have to decide on December 9th whether to give it the go-ahead. IFA President Francie Gorman is giving the proposal a cautious welcome as long as it's implemented.
Look, the devil will be indeed the detail. The terms and conditions attached to it will be something that we'll be keeping an eye on. But overall, it's a positive move, a step in the right direction.
Uisce Éireann says repairs to a burst water main may cause supply disruptions to Derryreel, Falcarra and surrounding areas. Until midday today, the burst was reported last evening at around 8 o'clock. Hundreds of tricolours erected across Dublin City by anti-immigration groups will not be removed. Dublin City Council will instead launch initiatives to promote a deeper understanding of the Irish flag. That's according to the Irish Times. It follows concerns that any large-scale removal would provoke an angry response and could put council workers in danger. A new legislation aimed at making grocery prices more transparent is being proposed by the Social Democrats. The party says the cost of food is a serious problem and the agri-food regulator doesn't have enough powers to investigate it properly. Social Democrats TD Jennifer Whitmer is calling for change.
Last year, the regulator, they tried to do an analysis on eggs, on the price of eggs and the food supply chain for eggs. And they were unable to do it because a number of entities along that food chain refused to give them the information that they needed. And the agri-food regulator does not have the powers to compel them to do so.
And the weather forecast for this Friday, blustery with widespread showers, heavy at times with a chance of hail and isolated thunderstorms. Through the late afternoon and evening, showers will merge into longer spells of rain for a time. Highs of 7 to 9 degrees Celsius in moderate to fresh and gusty southwest winds. Gales on the coast. And that's Highland Radio News. Back with news again at 10 o'clock.
The Black Friday buzz is on. Hoping to pick up a new TV, laptop or some nice jewellery for a steal? All things burglars would love to get their hands on too. Make sure to protect your home and everything in it with a phone watch alarm. We respond within 15 seconds, calling the homeowners, neighbours and then The Guards. Get the alarm burglars fear for just €29 this whole Black Friday month. Don't be alarmed. Be phone watched. Offer ends November 30th. Monitoring fees and terms apply. See phonewatch.ie.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. You're very welcome along to today's edition of the 9 till Noon Show. It's Friday the 28th of November 2025. And we have our Friday panel, as I mentioned just before the news. I'll introduce them to you shortly. Just want to invite you to get involved in the conversation. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. You can call us too on 07491 25,000. Or if you want to email, it's comments at highlandradio.com. And don't forget, you can watch the show at home on your smart TV or your Fire Stick, on the YouTube app, Highland Radio Ireland, across our Facebook and X pages as well. Right, let's say good morning first to Rebecca McDade, who's the chair of Aintu in County Donegal. Good morning, Rebecca. I can't hear you. I don't know if that's my fault or your fault.
Sorry, that's me.
That's all right.
Morning, Greg.
Schoolgirl error, but it's fine. We'll get that out the way early on. We've Richard Logue, Project Manager in Transport London. Hi, Richard.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
Good to have you with us. And last but not least, of course, former Independent Deputy Thomas Pringle. Hi, Thomas.
Morning, Greg. How's it going?
Good stuff. Do you decide at this point, or have you ever decided if you go back before the electorate again, Thomas?
It's too early to say yet. I mean, the next election is probably going to be 3 years away yet, so that we'll have to decide closer to the time. And in the meantime, I'm looking for a job. So if anybody's looking for
that's every time you come on, you're looking for a job.
I'm still looking. That's very hard to find.
You need to stop doing this free work, trying to get people elected and stuff. You'll have more time. But anyway, listen, it's good to have you on, and I've no doubt we'll see you on the ballot paper again in the not too distant future. Obviously, you've a strong eye in the council, Rebecca. That's obvious. Or even maybe the Dáil, is it?
It's well, the council. I'd love to be in the council. That would be great to get a start in there. That'd be brilliant.
Right. Richard's just loving life between London and Inishowen. He's not. He's busy enough at that crack, aren't you, Richard?
Yeah, I certainly am. I was back in Moville last weekend and had a wonderful, just relaxing weekend doing nothing for once in my life. So that was great.
Being able to do that is a skill in and of itself. So I think you're lucky to be able to do that. Right, let's get into some topics here. And I note this week, Ireland's birth rate has dropped by 20% over the past 11 years. The HSE published its national report, which shows 53,185 babies were born last year. That compares to 67,263 in 2014. These figures are kind of recycled because every year it counts the same gap between when figures were high, but still they are new figures and it is a significant drop. Rebecca, how concerned would you be about this? Because it's not unique to Ireland. It's, the United States, other European countries, that people are having less and less babies. And of course, then there's the knock-on effects of aging populations and all that kind of stuff. Are you concerned about it? Or what do you think it is down to? Because I did hear one expert say it was because of money effectively and cultural changes.
Well, I was just going to say that, Greg. Everything in Ireland has got so expensive now. Just as a little story, I had been to Rome over the weekend and it took very, very little money for me to stay in Rome for the value of the few days that I was there. When I come home to Ireland, I've spent a wee fortune. I've spent more than I took with me for the 4 days in Rome that kept me there. So yeah, you have the expense of our living here in Ireland, I think is a big thing. Financial burden on an awful lot of people getting children to school. And also you have the cost of living, the everyday cost of living, the price of your mortgages on your homes, everything. It's all changed. Now we have the reduction in our wages.
Yeah, is that why it is,
few people
Rebecca?
have seen that already.
Because, I'm from a family of 7, which would have been, average enough, I think, for the time.
There's 10 of us, Greg.
Yeah, well, then you will know where I'm going with this. We all ate out of the one pot in the evening, right? We all swapped clothes. We slept 2 or 3 in a bedroom. This is a there was no money. If my parents were waiting to be well off, there would be 2 of us or 1 of us. There wouldn't have been 7 of us. And I know that from other large families. So I don't I think is it not more a cultural change than an economic change? Because, as I say, there's loads of people listening that slept 3 or 4 a bedroom in families of 7 to 13.
Well, to be honest with you, I have three sets of big families in our house. Like there's two sets of sixes and one seven. And in actual fact, one of them is getting married now on Saturday as well. So that's a big occasion for us and a big gathering for a big family. So we've 37 grandchildren in the house and plenty more great grandchildren. So, that's a knock-on effect from our having a bigger family. But people are not having those size of families anymore. And I do genuinely think that it is down to the cost. Yes, if I go back to, I can only speak about our own family history and the cost for them. There was no children's allowance, for instance, until I came along. And I think they only got it for a few years for my brother before that. So, we do have that help and assistance, but the issue that you have now is the cost of mortgages and buying homes and being able to find a home and being able to get a home to live in. That's a big one.
All right, Thomas, what do you think, Thomas Pringle?
Yeah, it's a strange one, Greg. I mean, I do think that there is the costs at the moment are exceptionally high, but I think the changes in the family sizes and stuff like that, there's more of a thing because of bizarrely, and it's kind of counterintuitively, but it's because of progress. It seems that the wealthier a country gets, the smaller the families get, which is kind of counterintuitive. You would think, like years ago, like 100 years ago, people had large families in Ireland and hope that one would survive into adulthood to be able to actually look after the parents when they would get older. And you would imagine that if the risk of survival was so small, that a smaller family would make more sense, but it actually doesn't. It means you need a larger family. And I think we're at the stage where as society progresses and we get wealthier and stuff like that, the actual number of children and the number of size of families declines. And that's, you can see that all across Western Europe and the developed world, and that the families are declining. And I do think that's the major part of the process. Like, I mean, you were talking about your own family and that. There was only 4 kids in my family, and that was classified as a very small family. When we were growing up. Now 4 kids would be classified as a massive family. So it's how culturally it has changed, and I think that's to do, bizarrely, is to do with how the cost of living and how what's called progress is that people are getting work and people have 2 jobs and stuff like that there, and they call that progress, and that's what's actually developing it. But it is a real problem for societies now right across the developed world, is how do they keep supporting the people that are living in the society at the minute, when what we're going to see over the next probably 30, 40 years in Ireland is the number of people working depend to the number of people who are retired is going to decline. So the cost on the burden of support for those people is going to increase.
Yeah, and I also know that sometimes too,
that
people that sort of want to resist inward migration or believe that it shouldn't happen or whatever, sometimes don't take into consideration or don't really engage in the argument that we literally, in not too distant future, will not have enough people of a certain age to pay the bills and to look after the older people. So if people aren't having more children, I'm not saying do this if you're anti that, but it is a reality, because any business or any country or any society can only survive with certain demographics in place, working, paying taxes, trying to support older people.
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know for definite, but I think a lot of those same people would say that people should be having more and more children as well, and larger families,
Well, I
to
don't
deal
hear
with that
that,
issue,
yeah.
which I don't think is realistic either. And and it's ignoring the fact of the difficulties that people have in terms of having families like that. If you're realistically now, if you were to have a family of 10 children, you'd probably need about 11 or 12 bedrooms in your house. And
yeah, but you see, that's the thing.
That's
This is
the way things have moved
like,
on.
I have seen people who are struggling to find a home, and it's a family of 4, and they want like 4 bedrooms so that every child gets a bedroom. There's an expectation. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, right? But there's this again, it might not have been the case in your family, but we were doubled and tripled up in our family. And if I said I wanted my own room, well, you can imagine what might have happened next. Richard Logue, what do you think?
I think one of the points that both Thomas and Rebecca made is very, very pertinent, because back in the day when we had large families as the norm in the state, of those 8 or 9 children, it was a very good chance that a good deal of them would have emigrated. Some would have gone into the priesthood or the nuns. And then the population, of course, of the state was very, very small and falling right through from the 1920s right into the 1970s. Now, as the state became more wealthier from the 60s onwards, family sizes did go down. But the other issue is that the state is still projecting a massive population increase, and the island of Ireland by 2040 will have, well, certainly they're aiming or intending that the population would be a circa around 10 million, hence the need to invest in infrastructure and all of that. So the point is that, as Thomas well made it, was as families get wealthier, they're not producing as many children. And Rebecca's point about the cost of living in Ireland is a massive factor as well. But I do believe that we will still have some form of migration, whether it's returning immigrants or foreigners coming in to live in the country. So there would be, the actual birth rate itself might be falling down, but there's still no sign of the population decreasing. And I think the key point is that we need to ensure that we have people of working age in the state. And while the state's economy continues to develop, and I'm pretty certain it will, we're still going to need people coming in to fill the skills gap.
Rebecca, do you not think pressure on women is fueling this as well? Getting married later if they choose to get married. The first child on average is around about 35. The pressure's on to match what a fella's earning, etc. Do you not think societal pressures on women are playing as much a role in this as, the cost of living?
Well, there would be an argument, I suppose, for the idea of there has been many women who wanted to concentrate on a career because you had the most extreme years ago. Whenever they got married, they automatically gave up their work. So that's their identity of whatever it was that they trained and worked at. And I think that has gone back, but I think it has gone back to a disadvantage now because it's hard to get the balance. Because there is a pressure on both parents or the two working adults in the house to go out and work, where one may not have the option to stay at home. And that's a sad reality, really. And a lot of that is the second wages needed to pay for childcare. So there's an awful lot of things that needs to be addressed there. And we've got to look at, well, what I would personally want to look at is that where you, in a household where you have the two parents out working, that they get a subsidy for their children and childcare. I will take my own example. When I was working for myself, I was self-employed. I started when I was 19 and I was self-employed for 18 years. So I got married during that time and had our two girls. And I didn't have, the 6 month off that if you're working for someone, you can have your 6 month parental leave. I didn't get that. But the second girl, I didn't get that at all. So, I had a section with her. So I didn't have that opportunity to take the extra time to have with the children when they were young, when they were born. And that's just a reality of being self-employed. I wasn't in that position. So there's many others that will be able to, other women who will be able to take the time, have their 6 months and have maybe some parental leave after it, whether it's paid or not. But at the same time, you still have the issue of there is still a necessity for both parents to go out and work in order to pay one of the bills that's an absolute necessity, which may be childcare.
Before we move on, Thomas, as a former legislator, do you believe this is something that needs to be legislated for? You said, as a country becomes, or there is more progress, this is something that we see a lower birth rate. But is that just a byproduct of it, or do you believe that? I mean, obviously, anything we can do to support parents, the better, right? But do you believe that this is just the way it is?
Well, it's interesting. I was just thinking while Rebecca was speaking there too. The childcare and stuff like that, and the difficulties around childcare isn't a given. It's not that this has to be the case. That's government decisions and government choices, and it's choices of society, and that we live this way. So we could have a government that actually puts childcare to the centre and make sure that everybody has adequate childcare, and everybody can afford to work and not have to worry about the costs of in terms of childcare and stuff like that. That's a purely a governmental decision. That's a choice that is made by Irish people. They support the government that will provide that, and that will happen. So that can change things. And it is true as well when you think about it. Like when I was growing up, one person, predominantly the man, worked in families, and families could still have a holiday and could still live and could buy a mortgage and buy their house and stuff like that there, whereas you can't do that with one salary now anymore.
Okay.
So and there's a need as well to we have to look at how society is formed and how society is made, and who we're actually working for, and whether society is working for the prevention and growth of businesses, or whether it's looking for the growth of our individuals and our people as a priority.
Maybe
that's
it's
the difference too.
Maybe I'm harboring a view somewhere in the back of my head. I'm just surprised neither of you have. I'm surprised neither of you or none of you have attributed much this as to sort of the pressure on women. That almost if a woman has children and stays at home, that it's seen as some sort of a failure. Because okay, that's fine.
No, not like that, Greg. Because again, and I will go back to my own situation when I left my business, when I closed up my business there. Like I made the choice to stay at home, but at that stage I had to try and find my identity again. I had to find out now, well, who am I now? Yeah. I'm just a mum at home. Mum is one of the best jobs that you have, but when
it's just funny if you drill further into the births, there are certain demographics that are having multiple children and they can survive, and others not. But anyway, obviously, so it's nothing to do with that. All right, we'll be back with more after the break.
Hi by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
Teddy's Bar at the Silver Tassie Hotel, the ideal spot to catch up for cosy Christmas drinks by the fire and enjoy live music. The Silver Tassie Hotel, proud sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
The famous Deal a Day November is back at Irwin Expert Electrical. Every single day this month, a brand new mega deal drops. From top brand TVs to most wanted technology and gifting, you'll find unbeatable offers throughout the month in store. Don't miss out. Pop in store or follow Irwin Expert Electrical on Facebook and Instagram to catch all the deals before they're gone. Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Us pigeons see everything when we're flapping around up here. Well, almost everything. See, burning certain fuels releases invisible toxic pollutants, which can trigger asthma and lead to serious illness. So if you're going to light a fire in your home, make sure to use low smoke fuel. Oh, and never wing it burning rubbish.
Choosing low smoke fuel is better for all of us. Let's clear the air for everyone. And remember to clean chimneys and heating appliances at least once a year. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Across the world, millions of children are going to bed hungry. Their parents promising food that may not come, just so they can fall asleep. It's a heartbreaking reality no parent should have to face. This Christmas, you can make sure food is coming. Please support Concern's life-saving work by donating now at concern.net. Thank you.
Save 20% in the Loganair Tartan sale with promo code Tartan20. Book now at loganair.co.uk. T/Cs and exclusions apply, subject to availability.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
The Times 9:22. YouTuber says, great point made by Richard on the need to invest in public infrastructure so that Ireland, which makes the country more livable, there's a clear deficit in housing, health and transport infrastructure. I think the reason of small families, says another listener, is nothing to do with the cost of living. I'm thinking it's to do with both parents out working. Years ago, only one parent was working and one stayed at home. But, I mean, Thomas made the point just before the break that was doable. Is it doable now? Right, now a 35% spike in eviction notices, 61% due to selling, allegedly. It could signal a mass exit of small landlords ahead of new tighter tenancy regulations, immediately reducing critical rental supply. While this exodus creates instability, proponents argue strong tenant security is non-negotiable, asserting the market must not rely on unstable private investment. In this rental supply contraction, the necessary short-term cost of finally securing tenants' rights, requiring government-led supply replacement, or are the new rules so restrictive they create an untenable environment for all non-corporate landlords, worsening the crisis? Richard, you were talking about infrastructure. I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, really, the issue for us is an awful lot of accidental landlords out there in the market, and they're being spooked by the inflexibility of being able to get tenants off, and they want to sell their properties as well. Although I would say, and I've been through this experience myself, landlords can sell on to local authorities, and oftentimes that is actually a good win-win for all parties considered, especially if you have a long-term tenant in place. So there is that. But what we do need strong protections for renters, because people do need to be able to plan their lives. But we also have to be fair to the landlords. But there is a wider issue here in that, frankly, what we really need is more social housing to be built to really counteract an awful lot of the problems that we have with the affordability of housing. And that's going to cost money. But again, my usual drum that I bang about infrastructure, I think it is incumbent on the state to actually start thinking ahead about building more social housing.
300,000 houses to be built over the next 5 years, but no targets.
They do need to build more than that. And the fact is that families are unable to afford properties, although, depending on where they are in the country, but also a lot of young people are staying at home much, much longer with their parents because they can't afford rents. So at some point, the government, which did great work in the 1920s, one of the very first acts of the state when we became independent was to build extensive social housing up and down the country. And it's great that we're building it, but we do need to build more, in my opinion.
Yeah, Thomas, the issues are great, though. I mean, obviously you can say we're going to build a certain amount of houses. I might come back to that, and maybe you want to walk into that, go into that yourself. The beginning of the question really effectively was, we've seen these new tighter letting rules, but landlords, accidental or otherwise, are exiting. 35% spike in eviction notices. 6 out of 10 are claiming to sell the house, or I presume the others are saying a family member wants to move in or whatever. Was this to be expected with these new laws coming in? Is it an error, or is it just the market finding its place?
I'm surprised with all the scare stories that have come up about landlords and the difficulties of landlords that there's any left. The way they go on at the moment, the reality is, I believe that the landlords have a responsibility. While the state bends over backwards to make property and property ownership be the responsibility, and bends over backwards for that, it does nothing for tenants and does nothing for people who are dependent on properties to live in. And I think in the period that we're in at the moment, we have an emergency situation where people need a home and need to be able to live in a home. And it does go back to, and you can't really talk about it without talking about the actual decision not to build houses or building houses in the state as well. And if you look at it, that the local authorities aren't building houses, it's collapsed hugely over the last number of years, and the government isn't funding local authorities to build enough houses as things stand. And Richard is right. I mean, if you had enough houses being built for people on low incomes and stuff like that there, and people who qualified for local authority housing could actually get those houses, that would free up other houses that would be available then in the market for renting and stuff like that there, and would ease that burden. And you could also have the building then for private buildings and private sale as well too. That would actually generate more properties available.
Would it not have made
availability
more
as well.
sense then, though, for the government to, be more sympathetic to the important role small landlords are playing in providing any housing at all, whilst they try and deliver further housing?
Well, you see, first of all, the first mistake you're making, Greg, there is that the government sees its role as delivering housing. It doesn't. The government sees its role as facilitating developers and making sure that developers make money, and that's the reality, and that's a very important change. And if you had a government actually that saw its role as delivering houses, you would have different policies that would take place in relation to that. But the government sees its role as providing money for developers and providing money for large real estate investment firms and stuff like that there. So its policies are aimed towards that. You look at the changes that were made in recent months in relation to standards of apartment buildings and stuff like that there. That was to facilitate developers so that they could get more units onto a site and make apartments more attractive for them to build and sell, rather than for people to live in, or as a necessary home for people to live in.
And whether or not that was the motivation for that decision, one can't, and I'm not saying it isn't, one can't forget either that these developers were sitting on an awful lot of planning permissions, not shifting them at all. So they did have a very strong lean on the government.
Yeah, and the developers don't have to shift them. All they have to do is make noises, and the government will bend over backwards to make more money available to them, and so they don't ever have to develop properties.
Okay.
And then you get this whole argument now that there's not enough zoned land available in the country and all this kind of stuff. I don't believe that. I mean, there's huge numbers of zoned properties available sitting with planning permission on them that aren't being developed, and there is. Basically, there's an opportunity for somebody to make money 10 times before they actually as a property put on the site, and that's the problem. And the government policy is about facilitating that, and it's not about providing houses, and that's the reality. And what the government should be doing is ensuring that there's enough houses for citizens to live in, and then you would have a whole change in how that would actually be developed, and then you would see the large developments taking place to ensure that people have homes to live in.
Yeah, I mean, but obviously there's been a massive increase in the population in this country over a very relatively short time. So there is always going to be a bit of catch up there.
Well, there is, but you have to have a government policy that wants to catch up with it first.
And they've committed to building 300,000 houses.
But still not enough, and they're building 300,000 totally dependent on the private market to actually do it, and developers to do it, and every policy that they have is towards facilitating the private market and facilitating developers, and that's the crux of the problem, I believe.
Yeah. So you would count the new scheme where the council enters the second-hand house market as part of that, yeah.
It's all facilitating the price, driving up the price.
Right, Rebecca McDade, what do you think?
I would even go a bit further than that, Greg, and I would say it is the incompetency of the government to be able to plan ahead. And I think that what they're doing now is they're expecting the small landlords to pull them out of a hole by limiting them to having tenancies for 6 years. So that's to buy them 6 years to try and get some houses built. That's how I look at it. I think it's very, very unfair.
Do you have sympathy for the landlords then in this regard? You can understand then why we've seen such a spike in eviction notices.
Well, I think that's part of it. It's certainly part of it, I think, because a tenant can give, is it a month to say 112 days or something, where they're able to give the landlord notice, but the landlord has to give more notice than that. So if the tenant wants to move out, they have a shorter time to give the tenant, for them to leave the property. But the landlord actually has to give them more time to leave if they want them out.
Do you think sometimes, though, the landlords, they have this they believe that this is their investment, that this is their pension, that someone who's renting must cover all of the costs, the mortgage must be paid, and that is, and as soon as, maybe a landlord should have to pay 500 quid a month towards their own mortgage and then get an income from someone living in it. Do you know what I mean? Do you think maybe these people, and it's a terrible generalization, but just for the purpose of conversation, really they're only in it for themselves?
I don't think so, Greg, and I think it'd be very really small-minded to think that way. I think that people really need to be able to expand themselves in whatever way they see possible. For different people, it's going to be property. For other people, they might want a home abroad. That's something that's for everybody. If they work hard and they earn their money, they're entitled to spend it however they wish. And in actual fact, I would see small landlords as pulling out the government as it is because they're not providing the properties.
Richard, I would love to see the government successful in their plans, but I'm looking at it, and I'm not an engineer. We have water. We still have hose pipe bans effectively in large parts of this county, and other water infrastructure under pressure. We're still pumping poo and wee into the sea.
Particularly in Moville.
Yeah, exactly. And the ESB is working very, very hard to get people connected. And then in terms of the actual construction of these houses, some estimates are we're 77,000 skilled workers short right now, let alone for these government plans. And I'm looking on, and I want them to be a success. I really, really do. But I don't see what water supply you're going to plug these houses in, what sewer supply you're going to plug these houses into. Where's the roads infrastructure? Where's the power infrastructure? We're still waiting for this Northwest interconnector to, so I don't want to be cynical, but I'm looking on. I want someone to explain to me how that circle gets squared, or how that's sorted.
Take the issue, and you're right there, Greg. I mean, for instance, electricity. There's a substation in Buncrana which regularly goes out, and that means that we've got extended power cuts at times up in the Inishowen side of things. I mentioned about sewage in Moville. We have plans for sewage treatment work in Moville, which has been held up, as is often the case, by objectors. And that is a curse that we have in this country over infrastructure projects. And we have to invest. And, all the years of austerity, where the last 10 years where we had opportunities to invest, we had the mandarins in the Department of Finance telling us we couldn't invest. And to be honest with you, when we're sitting on the massive windfalls from the likes of Apple and corporation tax, it seems crazy that the successive governments in the last 10 years in the state have been sitting on that money, and they're starting to spend it now.
Yeah, but it's on everyday spending. That's the problem. I don't think even some of the overlords in finance would have said, not within government, that if you're going to spend that corporation tax, spend it on things like infrastructure. Don't sort of factor it into everyday spending. But we're either using it as everyday spending, or we're banking it for a rainy day. But for many people now, it's flooding.
Yeah, and we are paying the price of the the ridiculous levels of caution that our politicians allowed to happen. I'm not saying about Thomas, because Thomas, being an opposition TD, wasn't to blame for any of that. But we've got to look to the government TDs, and there's a big wider issue here about, if you're voting people in, they have to be there to champion what's going on. And I'm delighted that Sean Canny, for instance, has announced that he's seeking a feasibility and a route study with Liz Kimmins, the Northern Ireland Infrastructure Minister, for the Derry-Letterkenny rail link. And that's a really positive step forward, because it starts to make things happen. But it's not just, the rail link is fantastic and is very important, but we also need the basics, like getting the water right and getting a reliable power supply.
All right, Thomas, from the council from the council into the Dáil, and obviously knowing the lay of the land here in Donegal, and you look around it, there have been billions of euro announced for the likes of Irish Water. But in terms of the planned projects, I don't really see them there. Do you believe, just on the basic level, even if there is a will at government level, these types of housing projects can be delivered in, say, for instance, your own county of Donegal? Because I'm looking at planning applications for 28 houses, and it's Irish Water saying we've nowhere to connect them to.
Yeah, that that is the problem, and the problem is that when the Irish Water is there now, any infrastructure for Donegal is looked at on a national basis, and Irish Water is making decisions in relation to Dublin and to Cork and Limerick and Galway as well as Donegal. So the Donegal ends up put on the back burner in relation to that, and it is true. It's a historical lack of investment in infrastructure right across the board that caused the problem, but yet this government will continue to push for more and more data centres, which one data centre will use as much water as the town the size of Drogheda and will use as much electricity as the town the size of Drogheda. So all your electrical demand is going for data centres, and it's not going for housing and public housing, and that's a problem as well. And that's again is a problem of government, and it's a problem of priorities that government has, where it sees data centres where we have now, I think we have more data centres in Ireland than the Sweden, Norway, and Denmark have altogether, and and every one of those is using up infrastructure going hand over fist, and people are paying for their electricity. So when you pay your household electricity bill, you're actually subsidising data centres in doing that. So it's about priorities, Greg, and it's about how government views its priorities. And unfortunately,
yeah, but you have to look at the wider picture. I mean, you could look at the percentages. I mean, the percentage of power usage is really quite huge from data centres, but the grid can manage it at the moment. And we don't want to see ourselves or pull up the drawbridge. And we are a sort of a small open economy. The IT is really important to us. The multinationals being here, that's part of it, isn't it?
Do we need 200 data centres around the country? And that's something that has to be decided. And I think we need housing and development for our own people first before we need 200 data centres.
Right.
And it's about priorities. And that's what it's about.
Back with more from our panel after these.
Treat someone special to luxurious relaxation time in the Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie, offering indulgent treatments, unique gifts and Christmas gift vouchers. 07491 25619. Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
What's gravity? When does the grass grow greener? Can people with longer legs jump higher? How are plastic cups made? How filthy are our parents? Which ingredients make the best slime? Why do we dream? Are you faster than a calculator? Could a robot be powered by fruit or vegetables?
Kids are full of curious questions. ESB Science Blast, delivered by the RDS, empowers children to investigate the science behind simple questions just like these ones. Find out how your school can get involved at esbscienceblast.com.
Fly Donegal to Glasgow with Logan Air. Convenient return flights every Friday and Sunday, including a 15 kg checked bag. Book your Glasgow getaway now at loganair.co.uk. Terms and conditions apply.
This Christmas, your shopping trips could turn into trips away. Now, every €2.50 in Tesco Clubcard vouchers can be turned into 600 Avios to spend with Aer Lingus. Your fast track from the shopping aisle to the sunny aisles. Turn your shopping trips into more with Tesco Clubcard and Aer Lingus. Tesco. Every little helps. Clubcard required. T's and C's apply. Book via the Tesco app.
This year, every organisation with over 50 employees must highlight the difference in pay between men and women, the gender pay gap. Because if we highlight it, we can all work to close it. So whether you work in boardrooms, showrooms, front rooms, stock rooms, or not in rooms at all, if you have 50 or more staff, you must report it by November 30th. Let's all highlight the difference to make a difference. Visit gov.ie/gender pay gap to learn more.
Has anyone seen Ralph? Word is he headed up to face the North Face, and he brought Tommy Hilfiger and Fred Perry along for the adventure. Now all four are headed to Evolve Clothing for Black Friday deals. Catch them at Letterkenny Retail Park or evolveclothing.com.
Chadwick's Letterkenny are hosting a big breakfast morning this Friday the 28th of November in aid of Breast Cancer Ireland, with some of their key suppliers in store ready to talk trade and DIY. Amazing deals on the day will include DeWalt Combi brushless drills, €149. Atlas oak flooring, 12mm, $12.99 a square yard. 10 bags of salt tablets for €100. 20% of all mascot workwear, plus many more great offers. So call in this Friday, the 28th, to Chadwick's in Letterkenny and support Breast Cancer Ireland. Chadwick's. Let's get it done.
Hi, listening to your show. The cost of living is a major factor why more people are not having big families. The cost of mortgages and rent not helping, and food prices. Also, no one addressed years ago in the old days, people didn't have mortgages. They lived with in-laws and looked after them. Also, they grew their own food. There's a reason to the bigger families, less financial pressure compared to now. Mothers don't have the option of staying at home. More would, because of the pressure of rounding a house and running a house and paying bills. What about all single parents out there struggling on their own? Also, fertility rates have dropped too as a result of what's going into our food, pesticides and all sorts of chemicals, and government doing nothing about it. I think that people are actively, not having children, but I take your point. Enoch Burke keeps getting thrown in jail because he won't follow the court order to stay away from the school he was fired from for refusing to use the students' preferred pronouns. The judges say he's been locked up for ignoring the law, not for what he believes. But he says he's basically being punished just for his Christian beliefs and his right to speak his mind. When does the court power to make someone follow an order start looking more like actual punishment? And how can the system find a better way to balance the need to respect the court's authority with a person's deeply held beliefs and conscience without keeping someone locked up in perpetuity? Rebecca McDade.
Yeah, Greg, I think that there's different aspects to this, and there's two big ones that needs to be looked at, and one is the reason why he was told he has to go to court in the first place, and then the second issue is how they're dealing with him in regards to sending him to jail, and you have to look at those issues. They're important. So, what was his reason for actually getting into this position in the first place?
He took on the then principal of the school in a public forum and had it out with them and was subsequently suspended.
Yeah. So but what you have to look at there is, was there a rule in the school for what it was he was suspended for? Is it in law? And is there a legal back in there for that?
Well, he wasn't
suspension.
He wasn't suspended for his refusal to use the pronouns. He was suspended for approaching for effectively not going through the channels within the school to raise his concerns, but he stood up and challenged the principal in a public environment.
Yeah, and you see, and you know how you deal with any issue. It's always about how you talk to someone and how you deal with it and deal with it appropriately. That's the most important thing. But at the same time, you still have to think about the issues and whether it was legal, was it not, was it sufficient enough to have him put into jail? And you have to go around talk about those issues and talk about it from the start, from the first step, move on to the next one, and then he's still being paid his wages, but he doesn't have access to his money.
Yeah, because he keeps defying the court orders. Do you think that a court order, if it's handed down, should be respected?
Yes, you have that argument, of course. A court order must be respected. And also, but in this case, I still go back to the fact that, well, is the principal still in the school? I believe that they're not.
No, they've left a long time
ago.
So
what is the stance of the principal in the school now?
Mm-hmm.
You have to look at that now. Was there maybe a personality clash? Could that have been an issue at that stage? And could it have gone deeper in that respect?
Well, of course, it could all have been. It all could have been avoided. Either, like my understanding, I don't believe a teacher can be compelled to use someone's pronouns, for an example. So
I believe that's the way it is now. That is the case.
Yeah. So he could have met with the school, the principal in a private situation and say, "Look, I'm not comfortable with this. What's the alternative?" But it's escalated to where we're at now. But do you believe? How would you? I mean, obviously, he's defied a court order on a number of occasions.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean he has to be in prison or what? Because
I still think you have to go back to the original problem. And the original problem is still the reason why they have told him that he has to go to jail in the first place. So, or why it had to go to court in the first place.
You're proposing a question, I understand that, but what's your review of that though?
Well,
Not
again, you
asking
have to
the
look at,
question.
is there a clash? Is there a clash of personalities between the two of them, between the first principal and Enoch at the time? So obviously it was a contentious issue for him. If he wants to, fight that on a religious background or his ethos or whatever, then he's entitled to do so. It's not legal and it's not in law that it has to be that you have to call the children by their pronouns. It's not in law that has to be. So why is there a legal case against him for this?
Because he fell out with the principal in a public environment.
That's a personality clash. I don't care. That's a personality clash. That does not. You can disagree with someone. You don't have to always agree with them, and you can disagree with them. It doesn't mean to say that you have to take them to court for it. If we had that type of situation,
I do understand where you're coming from. I do think you're missing. You're jumping from one step to about step six. You know what I mean? There were a number of things happened in between the court and that
and
issue.
I do understand.
But do you believe?
Greg,
so
you
do you
go
think?
Back to the first reason.
Yeah.
The first reason is, in my opinion, there was a clash of personalities between the principal and Enoch.
So
Burke.
with that in mind, do you believe that
That's
Enoch? Do you believe that Enoch Burke could have handled it differently at the time and used the mechanisms within the school to assert his Christian rights as he would see them?
Absolutely.
So how
Yes, without a doubt.
sympathetic for him are you?
I think that if you are, when you have an opinion on something, I'm very strong-minded, I'm very opinionated, but I believe that my opinion is just as important as anybody else's. I will always do it as to the best of my ability and do it through the right channel. And everybody has to try and abide by that. Okay. You will not have respect for other people if you don't do that. But your opinion is your opinion and you're entitled to it. And if he wants to base it on his religious ethos, then that's okay and he can argue that point. But my point is that it's not in law that it had to be that he had to call the child a they, them. If that's the case, that's what I have on your notes here to me. So if that is the case and it's not in law, I do not think that there should have been a legal challenge from the principal. And I know that that it's to do with his approach to the principal, but an approach is still completely different and it's not law.
Okay,
it's not grounds for a legal argument, in my opinion. Because you could say to somebody that you apologize for doing something, and they could turn around and say, well, I'm sorry, I don't accept that. Well, the problem isn't with the person who made the apology. The problem is with the person who says they will not accept the apology.
Yeah,
and that's up to them to make their decision.
I want to bring the two others in, but obviously there was this disagreement between the principal and Enoch Burke. Enoch Burke then was suspended whilst that situation was and even at that early stage, he still continued to attend the school, right at the very beginning, while suspended.
You still have to go back. It still goes back to the principal and Enoch. Yeah. It's not a legal case. It's a clash of personalities, in my opinion, and it's a non-acceptance of the principal against Enoch Burke, either for his religious beliefs or based on whatever argument he wanted to put forward. That's how I see it. I see it as being more so a clash of personalities between the two of them.
Of course,
and I just do not see it as a legal case.
But if I fell out with the management here and I sort of had it out with them publicly, right? And they said, well, that's actually against Highland policy here. You could be bringing the station into disrepute. You're suspended for a month whilst we review the situation and have a hearing. And then I kept coming into this room when someone else was sitting here and saying, no, I'm actually doing the show. I'm doing the show. Eventually, they would have to get a court order to stop me turning up at Highland because, you know what I mean? And then I've chucked the whole process out the window because then I end up getting sacked.
But it all depends on the argument, you see. It all depends on the reason why you're told you can't go to your work.
Okay.
So what was their reason for being...
But I'll always disagree, because I took it up with management. I didn't like the colour they painted the outside of the building, and I stood up in Mount Errigal and I said, I think it's an absolute disgrace. And then the management...
Totally different issue, Greg.
Well, you see, no, it's not. You see, it's not because you're because it's about religion and pronouns and stuff. The actual structure of how you deal with that is fundamentally the same, and I wasn't being disparaging or in terms of the paint story. But anyway, I'll come back to you, Richard Logue. What do you think? Because at the end of the day too, you know, people are looking on and going, well, what is the court? What's a court order? Is it any of this effective really? Because, you know, what is being gained here?
Well, to be honest with you, what Enoch Burke is doing is making a complete mockery of the justice system, because he's been given a court order to not turn up at school, and he keeps coming back and back and back again. And at what point do we actually have to say, look, the problem is that Mr. Burke has taken a personal dispute with the head and he's turned it into a massive national issue. I think it's attention seeking. I can't think any logical reason why, when any reasonable person is given a court order to not go to somewhere, that they would. He keeps going back. He's basically trying to sort of build up some kind of case that somehow he is different from any other citizen in the state. And I think it's disgraceful that this has been turned. And I'm sympathetic with his religious beliefs, so I have to divide his concerns about the original pronoun issue with, frankly, his disgraceful behavior in making a complete mockery of the justice system. And I think something has to be done about it.
Thomas, last couple of minutes to you.
Yeah, I think you outlined the case perfectly yourself, Greg, and your example that you gave there. I mean, it's not about the so-called pronoun issue or anything you got there. It's about how Enoch Burke dealt with the management of the school. And management of the school decided that they wanted to deal with this case in a certain way. He wouldn't agree with it. He continued to go to the school and turn up at the school. And the court then got a court order against him to actually stop him turning up at the school. So it does, I think, as Richard said, it calls into question. I mean, the way the courts ensure that people listen to the courts and deal with the courts is by court orders, and if somebody blatantly ignores a court order like he is doing and flaunts the authority of the court all the time, well then the court, what does the court do and what can they do? And it came out then after a couple of months that he was still being paid his wages while he was on suspension and that as well too. So that maybe the court could make a financial order against him and take his wages as a way of forcing him to try and abide by the court's ruling. This hasn't anything to do with the issue that he's suspended.
I think that would be a very dangerous territory, that, Thomas.
Well, they've done it already. Ironically,
it'd actually be a far better territory than the carry on that he's at now at the minute.
I don't think so, because you have to look at what is their grounds for doing it in the first place.
No, you don't
have to look at that.
You don't have to look at his grounds. He targeted a very vulnerable young person. That's what his grounds at the start. That's what he did, and I think the courts are right in actually enforcing what they do. And there needs to be a way that the court can enforce it, because what he is doing and what has not been ignored completely in relation to this is the young person that he's been targeting, a teenager, a young child that he's targeting in the way that he's going on. And if he has a belief and he believes in that, he can believe in that and go along and do it. He actually didn't actually. I don't think he was involved in teaching the child or anything like that there as well. He made this case and made this priority to pursue his own agenda, and that is the reality of the situation.
All right. Greg, I wonder what does the students in the school think of it now, and say that child or that student and their parents. Like, what does the parents and those students feel like now?
Well, you see,
it doesn't matter what the student feels like.
But it does actually matter.
But you see, Rebecca,
it matters very much so, I think.
It's not nothing to do
because
with
Rebecca, the irony is that maybe the students actually understand the exactly where this all came from and what it actually started, and point A and point Z where we're at now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it would be interesting to hear what their opinions would be. Given the whole situation, the length of time it has been dealt with now, like, it'd be interesting to know what do they actually think about it.
I'd be very interested to know what they think of him standing in the corridor.
Has anybody ever interviewed them, or has anybody ever asked them?
They're kids, and to be honest, you don't.
Some of them may have left the school now.
You don't hassle kids. All right, listen, Rebecca McDade, thank you very much indeed. Lovely having you on the show. Thomas Pringle, great to see you again. Look after yourself. And Richard Logue, thank you very much. You might tease out that. Potential progress in the rail issue.
Well, I think we're getting there.
All right.
And it's a major piece of progress. So
okay,
brilliant.
Back after these. Thank you.
The 9 till noon show with the Silver Tassie Hotel, the perfect venue for a Christmas get-together, serving festive lunch, afternoon tea and dinner throughout December. Follow Silver Tassie Hotel on Facebook and Instagram.
We check the forecast, we check the fuel gauge, we check calorie counts and best before dates. We check we have our keys, then check again for safety. We check shopping lists, to-do lists and checklists, obviously. We check bus times, train times, tram times, plane times. We check whether what used to be Czechoslovakia is now the Czech Republic or Czechia. So why don't we check before donating to a charity? The Charities Regulator keeps a public register of charities in Ireland with details on what they do, who runs them and some information on their finances. So click, check and give confidently. Find out more at checkacharity.ie.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
Ben Sweeney Euronics in the Super Value Shopping Centre Dunlow is proudly celebrating 30 years serving the community. Call in today for great value across our full range of TVs, laptops, air fryers, home appliances and gas cookers and hobs, all with a free gas offer. You'll also find great deals throughout our Letterkenny store. Ben Sweeney Euronics. We deliver, we install, we care. Shop in store or online at bensweeney.ie.
They're back after yet another sellout show. It's Mac Fleetwood, live at Angrinnan Theatre, Letterkenny on Saturday, 6th of December. Experience the magic and the music with hits like Go Your Own Way, Dreams, The Chain and Rhiannon. Mac Fleetwood bring you an unforgettable night of Fleetwood Mac classics. Tickets on sale now at angrinnan.com. Presented by Joe Gallagher Entertainments.
Find me somebody to love.
The Dream Spend and Save event is now on. I bet you beds are excited.
Oh yeah, we're bouncing.
Until Sunday, save up to £200 on beds and mattresses. Spend more, save more.
But don't hang about. You snooze, you lose.
Dreams. Love your bed.
Deals! Mega Monster deals!
Shh! At Screwfix this Black Friday, our deals are so good we don't need to shout about them. Saving everything you need to get the job done. Power tools, safety and workwear, landscaping, outdoor and electrical. On the new app, in-store and online. Don't miss out. Deals must end 1st of December. Screwfix. No stopping you.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Discover Christmas gift ideas for everyone on your list. From trending beauty to memorable Secret Santa gifts. Visit us in Ballybuffet to explore our extensive range of gifts or shop online at mcelhenneys.com today.
So blustery with widespread showers, heavy at times with a chance of hail and isolated thunderstorms through the late afternoon and evening. Showers will merge into longer spells of rain for a time. Temperatures 7 to 9 degrees. Apologies. News is going to be a couple of minutes late as the last segment ran on. We'll be back after the news and obituary notices.
Your one-stop shop this Christmas. Gift vouchers for the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa are available online at silvertassiehotel.com or from hotel reception. The Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
How are things? How's the family? How are you? How can I help?
When it comes to supporting people living with dementia, it starts with asking how. Because how is a small word, but this social connection makes a big difference. So if you know someone affected by dementia, check in with them and learn more about how you can help build dementia-inclusive communities at understandtogether.ie from the HSC.
Did you make your list? Did you check it twice? On the 27th and 28th of November, the Nissan Leaf is coming to Letterkenny for 2 days only, with over 600 kilometres of range and rapid 30-minute charging. It's electric driving made for Donegal roads. Come to iMotors, explore it. No pressure, just pure innovation. Pre-order before December 23rd and you could win €10,000. Nissan Roadshow at iMotors Letterkenny.
iMotors, fearless generation.
Black Friday is finally here. Don't miss out on incredible savings at Yisk. Right now you can save up to 70% on more than 1,200 items. Yisk, Scandinavian sleeping and living.
Hiya, Lippy Lolly here. Join me and my friends at the Millennium Forum this Christmas in our fun-filled panto, Beauty and the Beast. Be our guest and get ready for a tale as old as time. Bring all the family and make magical Christmas memories with us. We're here from the 28th of November until the 31st of December. Book your tickets now at millenniumforum.co.uk. Sponsored by the Richmond Centre.
Looking for a getaway this winter? Whether it's winter sun, a city break, Christmas markets, or hitting the ski slopes, Belfast International Airport has you covered. Check out our exciting winter schedule and start planning your next adventure. And don't forget, pre-book your car parking and save at belfastairport.com.
Who's making something wonderful at Lidl this year?
Hi, I'm David Brett from Oak Park. We pride ourselves on supplying award-winning hams to Lidl each Christmas. We select Board Bia quality assured Irish pork. We naturally smoke them using beechwood chips.
Oak Park's Board Bia approved ham joints from $9.99. Lidl, more to value.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonagh. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, 2 minutes past 10. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Detectives in Derry investigating assaults on 4 police officers and a custody detention officer in the Cullen Lane area yesterday morning have charged a man with a number of offences. The 20-year-old has been charged with 3 counts of assault on police, 2 counts of assault on a police designated person and possession of a Class B controlled drug. He's due before Derry Magistrates Court later today. Defective Blocks Ireland says the multi-party legal action and related proceedings against the Irish state, being led by Coleman Legal, remains a vital route to accountability and redress for families across Donegal whose homes have been devastated. The not-for-profit organisation, formed in Buncrana by Adrian Sheridan and Sean Hegarty, says proceedings are moving toward their crucial next phase. With more, here's Alex Rowley.
In an update, a spokesperson for Defective Blocks Ireland says Coleman Legal has confirmed that discovery has now concluded across 6 lead cases in the main litigation. The National Standards Authority of Ireland has raised queries on aspects of some material, and Coleman Legal is engaging directly with the NSAI to address all outstanding matters. Defective Blocks Ireland understands that a number of technical issues have arisen between the plaintiffs and the NSAI regarding testing methodologies applied to certain samples taken from Gransha Quarry. The NSAI issued a notice of motion in May seeking directions from the court in relation to these matters. It'll return to the court on the 8th of next month.
You can read that full statement on our website, highlandradio.com. CLAR funding totalling €763,000 has been announced for 11 projects in Donegal. CLAR provides monies for small-scale infrastructural projects in rural areas that have suffered significant levels of population decline. The latest round of funding will benefit projects in Ardra, Cloughan, Convoy, Termon, Gweedore, Glencolmkill, Glenties, Bunaninver, Kilcar, Pettico and Inishboffin. Deputy Pat Gallagher says this is a real and practical investment in rural communities, and he's backing calls for the programme to be extended to cover the whole of Donegal.
I believe that it strengthens rural communities by improving local facilities, enhancing safety and ensuring essential services remain accessible for people living in isolated, dispersed areas, right out to Convoy at this stage and down to Kilcar and back to Inishboffin Island. So it's good news, and I have no difficulty in supporting it to cover the entire county.
Ishka Aaron says repairs to a burst water main may cause supply disruptions to Derry Real, Falcara and surrounding areas until midday. The burst was reported last evening at around 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, hundreds of homes, farms and businesses remain without power across an area stretching from the Finn Valley to West Donegal this morning. At the height of last night's strong winds, the figure was close to 2,000. ESB networks say they're working to restore power to all areas as quickly as possible. A man's been extradited from the Canary Islands to Northern Ireland to face child sex abuse charges. The 45-year-old was arrested in Las Palmas in Gran Canaria and was flown back to the north, where he's due in court in Coleraine later today. He's facing trial on charges of engaging in sexual activity with a child, alleged to have occurred in Ballymena 5 years ago. A new legislation aimed at making grocery prices more transparent is being proposed by the Social Democrats. The party says the cost of food is a serious problem and the agri-food regulator doesn't have enough powers to investigate the issue properly. Social Democrat TD Jennifer Whitmore is calling for change.
Last year, the regulator, they tried to do an analysis on eggs, on the price of eggs and the food supply chain for eggs. And they were unable to do it because a number of entities along that food chain refused to give them the information that they needed. And the agri-food regulator does not have the powers to compel them to do so.
And people are being urged to be on their guard today when shopping for Black Friday. The Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is issuing a warning that consumers are being targeted by increasingly sophisticated online scams. It's urging people to double check a website's legitimacy. CCPC Director Grania Griffin has this advice.
Think about, how did I get onto this website? And if you got onto the website through an ad, you have to just stop. You have to just stop and go back out to your browser and visit the website through a normal route. You know, Google it and go directly in to a non-paid link. And if it is then a website that you've never heard of, but it does sound like it has what you're looking for, you need to go and check the reviews independently.
Blustery today with widespread showers, heavy at times with a chance of hail and some isolated thunderstorms. Through the late afternoon and evening, showers will merge into longer spells of rain for a time. Highs of 7 to 9 degrees in moderate to fresh and gusty southwest winds. Gales on the coast. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check all the day's news on highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning. The obituary notices for this Friday morning, the 28th of November. The death has occurred of Annie Lafferty, Knock, Ballabafay, reposing at her late residence from 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock this evening, and again tomorrow from 12 noon until 10 o'clock, with rosary both nights at 9. Funeral from her late residence on Sunday afternoon at 12:20 for Requiem Mass at 1 o'clock in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live on the Killygordon Parish YouTube channel. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. The death has occurred of Mark Quinn, 1 Milltown Convoy, formerly of Shanagard, Rafo, reposing at McCool's Funeral Home, Ballabafay this evening from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock for family only, please. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:10 for Requiem Mass in St Eunan's Church, Rafo at 11 o'clock, interment in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed on parishofrafo.ie. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, directly to the Donegal Hospice. The death has taken place of Tom Harkin, the Square, Moville. Tom's remains will leave Emma McLaughlin's funeral home, Station Road, Carndonagh, this evening at 5 o'clock, going to his home. Funeral from there on Sunday morning at 11:10 for 11:30 funeral mass in St Pius X Church, Moville, followed by interment in Ballinacray Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on movilleparish.com. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of desired to Beach Hill Manor Residence Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has occurred of Sister Mary Perpetua McVeigh, formerly Main Street, Dungiven, late of Convent of Mercy, Pump Street, Derry, and Nazareth House, Fawn. Her remains will repose at Nazareth House, Fawn today from 11 a.m. Removal from there at 6:15 tomorrow evening to St Patrick's Church, Dungiven, to repose overnight. Requiem Mass on Sunday morning at 11:30, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. The Requiem Mass can be viewed on mcn.live. The death has taken place of Michael Byrne, Upper Lasha, Gweedore, formerly of Mallow, County Cork, Thurles, County Tipperary, originally of Navan, County Meath. His remains will repose at Rorty's Funeral Home, Derrybeg, today from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. Funeral from the funeral home tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to St Columkills Church, Knockfulla, for 11 o'clock funeral mass, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on Kieran Rorty, Funeral Director's Facebook page and on the church webcam. The family home is private, please. The death has taken place of Michael Joseph Lynch, Bracky Ardra, formerly of Coot Hill, County Cavan. The house is private, please. Funeral mass tomorrow in the Church of the Holy Family Ardra at 12 noon, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Galway Hospice. The death has taken place of Sean Donnelly, Milltown, Dublin, formerly of Cathedral Place, Letterkenny. Funeral this morning in St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, at 11 o'clock, which can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in New Leck Cemetery, Letterkenny. Family flowers only, please. The death has taken place of John Flanagan, Coolacrick, Annagry, formerly of White Rock, Belfast. reposing at his home in Cullecrick today from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. John's cremation will take place in Roselawn Crematorium, Belfast, tomorrow morning at 11:20. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Kidney Association and the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Kieran Rorty, funeral director. The death has occurred of Pat Carolan, 19, Garviter Road, Castlederg. Funeral from his residence this morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Castlederg. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Mass can be viewed via the parish webcam. And the death has occurred of Paul McSorley, 61, Lonsdale, Navanny, Ballabafay. Paul will repose at his late residence today from 12 noon until 10 p.m, leaving there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Sesha O'Neill, followed by burial in the adjoining graveyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed via the parish YouTube channel. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Kelly's funeral directors. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Fearing the weekly shop? Your money now goes even further with our new Aldi Price Drops. Fill your bag with your faves, fresh wraps, pesto, maybe pancakes? You know, good food, the bits you need, and the treats you deserve. Then head to the till, check the bill, and breathe. Save even more with Aldi Price Drops.
Welcome back to the 9 till noon show. A caller says, I was very disappointed with the Enoch Burke discussion this morning as an avid listener. Michael, thank you for being an avid listener. Rebecca McDade showed sympathies towards Enoch Burke. Greg quizzed her and quizzed her. Now, just to be clear, I have a lot of respect for Rebecca. She's got lots of opinions on stuff. And what I was interested in is, I mean, I know there's point A and now we're at point B. I was interested in Rebecca's views on point A. I mean, obviously we can say, well, we don't know if there was a personality clash, but I have to understand, or I want to understand exactly what that means. That's what you do when you respect someone's opinion. There's an awful lot of people are very sympathetic to Enoch Burke. I think what a lot of people feel is that if he had used his intelligence and his platform in a different way, it could have been way more effective, because now we've discussed it today. He's in Mountjoy. He's probably going to be in Mountjoy over Christmas, and no one will be talking about it, right? So the reason it was put on the agenda is because it's a conversation quite a few people are having out there. But to continue Michael's point or his comment, the two panellists that had the view that Enoch should be locked up were never questioned. It was blatant that only one side of the argument was questioned. This was poor journalism, in my opinion. Both Richard and Thomas said that he's locked up because he breached a court order. There's no anti-argument against that, right? That is just the way, that's what happens. So there's no point, well, should he have been locked up? But I mean, everyone knows a court order is a court order, and if you continually breach it, that type of a court order, you will end up in prison. So to say, there's no question there to say, well, should the judge have locked him up? Because the answer is obviously, well, if you continue to breach a court order, you have to be locked up. It would be the same in my situation. But I understand where you're coming from. But, you know, there's not every radio station is discussing it and giving people a different a platform for different points of views in relation to that either. I actually just really wanted to know what Rebecca's point of view was, because I had asked a question and then it was another question back, if that makes sense. That female guest is shocking. Every organisation, sector, etc. has a complaints procedure. He didn't follow it at all. He continues to defy the law and is just hell-bent on turning a simple situation that he could have raised the correct way into a national debate because of his Christian fundamental beliefs, and the victim of his vitriol is left to deal with the aftermath as a younger teenager at school and in the community. Disgraceful. With the approach, says another, that Thomas Pringle has taken about Enoch Burke has taken, I'm not surprised he's out of a job, and I voted for him. There is so much false information around this case, and that's the issue. Each side spread their own view. Morning, Greg. That lady is wrong about Enoch Burke. The fella is jailed because he's ignoring a court order to stay away from his place of work. Let me guess she doesn't like the fact that his Christian rights were questioned. You see, that is the fundamentals of it, and that's why I struggle every time I try and have this conversation because, and I'm not speaking of Rebecca here, those that support Enoch Burke, fundamentally they support him, right? So they say, well, you know, like, I agree with his views, right? Let's just say that... But it's how we got to where we're at now is the problem. But if you now in this day and age, people take an opinion and then, you know, the details within that sort of get lost because the opinion trumps that. Another, Rebecca is correct. I find it strange how no parent who has kids at that school had ever been interviewed by the mainstream media on the issue. If it's not in law, the principal has to share the blame in creating the dispute. Another, I think it's wrong that Enoch Burke was suspended and jailed over his rights, but that's not why he was suspended, and this is where we end up with the problem on this issue. Mr. Burke is standing up for his given rights, full stop. The only reason so many people are talking nonsense about Enoch is because of his stance being religious in many aspects. Agree 100% Rebecca, and I blame the original principal for the whole thing. At the end of the day, Enoch Burke, whatever people may think, say for that school going people upon... Okay, right, sorry. I, what effectively they're saying is because of him, people will be known as male or female, full stop. Housing. Most landlords, in inverted commas, own the houses they're renting outright with no mortgages, but they keep their investment house empty rather than rent for 6 years with no income. On the same issue, the issues with planning is a real problem in Ireland. No one should be allowed to object to the building of a home for a family on the person's own land, providing it meets council criteria. The problem is the council criteria is why the planning's not being allowed to build alongside the N56, for an example. So it would be the council's refusal of planning or the rules that don't allow planning that would be a bigger problem than those objecting. I would propose. If anyone has a different point of view, please let me know. Okay, we're going to be back with our next guest in just a couple of moments. Stay right where you are.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Friday the 28th of November. You're playing on the yellow sheet for the daily prize of €1,000. The reference number is S20. It's game number 48. The numbers are 63, 9, 14, 60, 43, 18, 71, 2, 80, and finally 89. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Country Sundays at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny. This Sunday 30th, it's Mike Denver and his band. Dancing 9 to 11, admission €20. Coming Sunday 21st of December, Michael English. And Sunday 28th of December, Claudia Buckley. But this Sunday, it's Mike Denver at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny.
My Future Fund. The auto-enrolment scheme is coming. Employers, getting ready is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Complete your profile on the My Future Fund portal in December. 2. Set up a payment method. 3. Run payroll as usual. Contributions start in January. Remember, auto-enrolment is a legal obligation. And don't forget to let your employees know if they're enrolled. Find out more at gov.ie/employers/AE. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana, the biggest direct importer of sofas, beds, mattresses and flooring in the Northwest. Best in stock deals on selected sofas and corner sofas. Best in stock deals on gas lift beds. Best in stock on mattresses. Best in stock deals on laminate flooring, semi-solid flooring and carpets. Full fitting service on carpets and wood flooring. With a free delivery service throughout the Northwest, including all of Northern Ireland. Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana. Always lower prices.
True luxury is best experienced firsthand. So, experience it for yourself today at Lexus Letterkenny. From the thrilling NX to the all-electric RZ, both available with a €2,000 bonus once registered before January 31st. Enjoy everyday extraordinary with the compact LBX or the stylish UX, with flexible payment options available across the range. Luxury begins with L at Lexus Letterkenny Port Road. Lexus. Experience amazing. Terms and conditions apply.
The 9 till noon show with Donegal's multi-award winning wedding venue, the Silver Tassie Hotel, planning dream weddings for generations. Email weddings at silvertassiehotel.ie for information on their brand new wedding packages.
Thank you so much for all your texts and comments coming in this morning, by the way. I will get to them as the morning wears on. But I want to say good morning now to Hala Ahmed. Good morning to you, Hala. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning to you. Thank you so much.
Right, you have been the victim of racist graffiti being daubed at your home in Derry. Talk to me about what appeared and when, Hala.
Just 2 days ago in the morning, when my daughter was on her way to catch the school bus, and she saw what is written on a wall, and she called me, and she was crying and terrifying, and I told her, you don't have to worry, just go on and catch the bus. And I went there and saw what is written. I really felt so angry and sad at the same time. It's really annoying, and it brought all sad and bad memories to my mind, because I came from Sudan, and of course, you know, there's a war there, and I don't know how to say this, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
Also, the words read locals only, which I presume is hurtful in and of itself, but it's accompanied by what looks like a target of a gun.
I don't know. It gives me a feeling that we became a target, and I don't know who wrote it, because we have been living in the same area for almost a year, and we haven't been through anything like that before. And I don't know why it just happened suddenly, and just when we start moving from one house to another, which is in the same area, it is only 1 minute walk from the old house to the new house. And we have been there for, as I told you, for almost a year, and nothing like that happened before. So I was really shocked and surprised why it just happened right now.
What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
Obviously, the PSNI are investigating. They're looking for witnesses in relation to this. However successful that is, we don't know. But how has this made you feel? How has it made the family feel? What are you going to do next?
It made my family feel, of course, very sad and upset, and made me very scared, because we don't have we don't know what may gonna happen next. But the good thing is that I got a lot of support from the local people in my place where I live, and a lot of people, they called me, and they supported me. I've been there I've been there for almost a year, as I told you, and I know a lot of people there. I'm a volunteer in the Northwest Migrant Forum, and I know a lot of people there, and they all supported me. And even those who didn't came and see me, they called me and they text me, messaged me. Yeah, and we called the police. Of course, the police came and investigate about it, and of course, we don't know who did this.
Okay.
I hope things will be okay. Yeah.
Okay, Hala, listen, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it. That's Hala Ahmed, part of a Sudanese family in the Fountain area. Fountain Street area of Derry. They found local only and a crosshair symbol sprayed on their home. The PSNI appealing to anyone with information or anyone who witnessed the incident or who may have captured dash cam or CCTV footage from the area to call them from the north on 101. And there's a number there to quote, which is too long for me to read out. Hi, Greg. I'm renting a house in Letterkenny for the last 3 years. My landlord told me last month he's selling the house, so I have to find a new house. The landlord has informed the council that he's willing to sell to the council, but they've refused to buy the house. I can't find any other house in Letterkenny that I can afford, as it's just myself and my 3 children living on my income only. So I presume the landlord's offering it to the council under that resident in situ scheme. So they've got 6 months to find a new home. All houses are €1,600 in rent. I've contacted the council and they said to come back when I'm homeless and will be given vouchers for hotels for me and my 3 children. And that's something that's come up quite a bit in relation to this. People know they're going to be homeless on a certain date, and the council are saying to them, because I presume this is just the way it is, that until they are actually homeless, they can't do anything to help them. A horrible situation. 6 months is not a long time. Children probably in local schools as well. Maybe the job is local. And to be told that you've got no home in 6 months, it's horrendous. I have 3 houses that are rented out. I have 3 very good tenants, so I haven't raised the rent in 5 years. The government are bringing in an initiative that I will have to level up my rent to everyone else's prices. I will have to give my new tenants the house for the same price. They are also introducing a 6-year lock-in that you will be left with the same tenant for 6 years. So I'm left with 2 options: raise the rent for tenants that have never given me bother, or sell my houses. I rang the RTB and they say that people are ringing about this every day. A lot of landlords are thinking of selling up, and of course, and they are. There's been a peak in it. The rental market has increased consistently and significantly for years, says this listener. It's all down to greed and started with the influx of new citizens. Many smaller private landlords are selling their properties because of the incoming stricter regulations, nothing else. Another: I'm in my late 60s and we bought 2 rental properties as a pension fund. We're currently selling because it's our pension fund and we can't wait another 6 years to sell at the convenience of the tenant. We have had some great tenants and we've had some terrible tenants. We've been tempted to sell many times, but this call by the government was our final decision. But presumably, I say presumably, I can imagine though, if you get someone in and then you decide to sell in 3 years, that would be a reasonable excuse to ask people to sort of, in other words, to get around that 6 year. I must Google that, because I'm sure I read somewhere that if someone was moving, say you had a family member that you wanted the house for, or you were selling it, that the 6 years you wouldn't be locked into it. Greg, my feeling why families are smaller today is because, number one, the young women today can't get a home because the price of a home, they're too expensive. They can't afford to build. When you take your wages and pay your bills with the price of everything today, you find there's nothing left to buy or build a home. Childcare today is so expensive. Food, electricity, running a car, every day running a home. Women just can't afford a home. And if you haven't a home, then you can't have a family. On the birth rate, can you ask Rebecca what Ainta's views are on IVF and reproductive medicine to increase the birth rate? The 2 separate questions, I think, because, there is not enough people seeking IVF treatment that would address the fall in the numbers having children. So, but I do understand that you might be interested on Ainta's views on IVF, and we can find that out for you. I think the reason of small families, says the listener, is nothing to do with the cost of living. I'm thinking it's to do with both parents out working. Years ago, only one parent was working and one stayed at home. But to flip that on its head, the reason both parents are out working is because you can't live any longer on a single income average. A family can't live on an average single income now. So it's you say it's not because of the cost of living, but if you only have one parent working, the cost of living is such that you're not going to meet your bills, are you?
Teddy's Bar at the Silver Tassie Hotel, the ideal spot to catch up for cosy Christmas drinks by the fire and enjoy live music. The Silver Tassie Hotel, proud sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Are you looking for fresh, vibrant organic veg grown locally with care? White Oak's Acorn Project Organic Veg is on the move. Find us Wednesdays in Buncrana, Thursdays at Applegreen Burnfoot and Fridays in Burt. Or order online at esuscentre.com for delivery across Inishowen and Derry. So, if we're not coming to you, come to us at the ESOS Centre and Celtic Prayer Garden next to White Oaks, F93F104.
This Christmas, don't miss the sound that makes the season magical. At Connect Hearing, we understand that hearing is more than sound, it's connection. Our expert team provides personalised hearing care, from gentle wax removal to the latest in advanced hearing aids, tailored to you, so you can enjoy every laugh, every song, every precious moment. Call Connect Hearing today on 07491 13296. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life this Christmas and beyond.
For the perfect gift this Christmas, visit Tinney's Toys in Letterkenny, where you'll find top quality toys at great prices. From Care Bears to Lego, Beyblades to Brooder toys, and our amazing range of kids' electric ride-on cars, Tinney's Toys has something for every wish list. Visit us in store at Leck Road, Letterkenny, or shop the entire range online at tinneys.toys.com. Tinney's Toys, much more than just farm toys.
There's more to share at your Christmas party with Dunn Stores. Mix and match 3 for 2 on a huge selection of party dishes, like our indulgent range of cheeses, and brand new options like chicken sliders, king prawn toasties, and frozen popcorn prawns or mac and cheese bites. And better yet, you can save more with your 5 off 25 voucher. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunn Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop.
If you need an eye test, look no further than Louis Walsh Opticians. Letterkenny's longest established opticians are delighted to welcome patients new and old to their state-of-the-art practice in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Their latest technology includes a 3D OCT retinal camera, which assesses the health of your eyes in minutes. Private, medical card and PRSI patients welcome. Call 91 21000 to arrange your eye test.
Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny. Your vision, our focus.
Attention all golfers, Black Friday is in full swing at McGurk's Golf. Enjoy massive savings on all the biggest brands, TaylorMade, Under Armour, Adidas, Callaway and more. Whether you're shopping for the perfect gift or topping up your golf gear, McGurk's Golf has you covered. Don't miss out. Visit McGurk's Letterkenny Retail Park today. McGurk's Golf, your game, our passion.
I'm joined in studio by Leonard Watson, who's a parents advocate for special needs parents and their children, of course, as well. Leonard, thanks for calling up.
No
Good
problem.
to have you with us. Right, I just want to reference first a letter that was received by Pádraig McLaughlin in relation to CAMS for children with autism, intellectual disabilities. It's a long letter. You're across it, right? So what I'm going to ask you to do is give us an idea of the nature of the question and then the response.
Well, Greg, this kind of goes back to CAMS is Child and Adolescents Mental Health Services. They're there for all, they should be there for all children. So a typical thing, if you have a child who's suffering depression or that they'll be referred to CAMS by their doctor. But there's been an issue since January 24 with children with moderate to severe intellectual disabilities are being refused entrance to CAMS. They say that they don't have the services there for them, but Greg, it goes back to you're treating children. It's like a two-tier system for children. So the children that probably need it the most severe, are being refused. You see in that letter where they say that that they've been referring them on to, they have a name on it, so I don't have the letter in front of me.
The clinic, is it the National Clinical
Yes.
Operational... 1 second. So I can confirm that 3 generic, this is the letter to Deputy McLaughlin, I can confirm that 3 generic child and adolescent mental health services teams in Donegal have never accepted young people with a moderate to severe intellectual disability into CAMS. This is because CAMS operate under the National Clinic Operational Guidelines, which state that children with moderate to severe intellectual disability are not within the remit of generic CAMS services. This is a national policy and not specific to the area. Such children are instead referred to CAMS Mental Health Intellectual Disability Services. And at present, there is no CAMS MHID consultant or team in place locally. And we're going to talk to that in a moment because there. So this is really this is answering all of those individual frustrations that families were going through. There was never an option for their children,
Greg,
was there?
There was up until January 24. they were accepting children with moderate. I know they're saying there that they were. We know they were. They're accepting children.
Okay, so what they're saying here is that they never did, but you're saying that you have information that suggests up until January 24, they were in fact. What changed in that month then, I wonder?
They went back to this policy, what did you call it, the Section 28 from then on. They probably are understaffed in Donegal, but that's not a reason to turn away children. I've told you some of these stories. Some of these stories are harrowing. Greg,
Remind us, because this is so important, Leonard, and it affects so many people. And it's great that you have now a collection of people working together, but still many fight these cases on their own or have done for years.
Greg, I've been trying to get some of these families to go public in this, and they're too afraid. They're just afraid they're going to lose services.
What other scenarios?
There's one lady, and and this is typical of the stories. The child isn't sleeping. The child's anxiety is through the roof. So with anxiety brings behavioural issues, brings anger, brings violence. As one woman said to me, she's a prisoner at her own home. Yeah,
so she would then say, right, I need some support from CAMHS here.
But CAMHS will tell you that they have this thing that this is just autistic traits. But autism isn't a mental health issue. But 70% of children and adults with autism will suffer depression, anxiety, and anxiety is huge, or ADHD, and they are all mental health conditions, But I've heard so many times saying this is just autistic traits, and you actually see it in the letter to Pádraig. We do not deal with behavioural issues, but anxiety brings the behaviour too, that's the thing, they're not even seeing these children, even there now you see there about. There's different things for reasons why they've turned these children down, and one of them requires a cognitive assessment to determine development levels before decision can be made. How do you do a cognitive report on a child whose anxiety is through the roof? It's impossible. And I say about these families, these families, some of them have no support because the relations can't help them.
But it seems to be that the children are being discriminated against because of the cause of their problems.
Yes,
if you know what I mean. So if another child doesn't have a diagnosis of additional needs, they can be seen.
There is children,
even though there are
accepted.
Delays.
There is children being accepted.
But my point is a diagnosis of autism, for an example, is you'd be better off avoiding that almost to access CAMHS. Now, you wouldn't, of course, be better off, but the children are disadvantaged because of that.
We are seeing traits where children with autism are being turned away by CAMHS. And that is the figures. At the moment there, I see there's 24 cases who have been referred to CAMHS and who have been turned down. And there, Greg, you said they were being referred on. They're not being referred on.
They said it here.
They're getting a generic letter to say we do not deal with children with mild to moderate to severe intellectual disabilities, and that's it. There's nothing at the bottom telling them where to go, what's going to happen next. There's nothing.
Here's the line: in relation to behavioural problems or challenging behaviour, which is an interesting terminology, CAMHS do not accept referrals solely for their management, regardless of the level of disability, unless there's a clear clinical reason to suspect that such behaviour is linked to an underlying psychiatric illness. So, unless the child can be proven to have a mental illness, they won't be treated for the exact same behavioural issues potentially, or not behavioural issues, but same issues like anxiety, etc. If they have a diagnosis of autism, for an example. So that one is always going to cancel out the other.
And Greg, and I'm saying there's 24 cases at the moment. Well, I think it's about 24 cases. And despite these presenting with possible mental health issues or ADHD, they've been turned away. They have never been seen. Nobody has actually, sat in the room with these children.
Is this a national issue or a local issue? Because the HSC seems to say this is a national problem. It's a national problem. It's not exclusive to Donegal.
There is certain, there's a lot of areas in the country that this would be happening. But Craig, that's not the point. There's children suffering here. There's families suffering here. It's a scandal. And even there, I'll go back to one of the families who were at their wits' end and just wasn't coping. And instead of helping his family, they sent two solicitors to take away the child, to not take away the child, with the issues, take away another child. It's an absolute scandal. And that's why people are afraid. I was chatting to a parent yesterday, and the same thing said here. Well, maybe we should get Tusla involved. As if to say, we'll take away your children.
So rather than helping, families are being
like
judged and penalised.
They're being threatened as such.
So you say nothing because you don't want another child in the house to be taken from that house.
And they're taking away the neurotypical child. They're not taking away the child with the issue. They've obviously taken away the child. And it's just, as I say, Greg, and it's heartbreaking if you sit with these families and you chat and this isn't going on for a couple of weeks. This is going on for 6 months, 8 months, a year and a half. People are they're not living. I had a woman yesterday tell me that her marriage is on the verge of breaking up.
It would be,
she said the pressure is
incredibly difficult to maintain any normality.
And this is not parents sending their children to camps. This is clinicians, this is doctors.
So, a new mental health intellectual disability consultant is due to start work with CAMHS patients in Donegal in January. Now, how quickly they can work through whatever list is there. So, in relation to what the HSE is outlining now, so this means that the children who CAMHS can't take on, so they would then be referred to this person.
Yeah, but this is temporary, Greg. This is not a full-time position. This happened a year or so ago. Like I say, I think there's about 24 cases. Is this doctor going to be able to take on the 24 cases, or is it just going to be maybe the top 10 or something? And what about the cases coming in January and February that are new cases? This is like a sticking plaster. But I say, Greg, these are families that are not living. They're not functioning at school. These kids aren't functioning at school. Been asked to take them home. Not for function society. The family can't do anything as a family.
They're being punished rather than being.
But that's what I'm saying. We need to be helping families like this.
So just to help me understand, so if a child then is referred to this person, the MHID, what is their pathway then to help or support? So if that person then says, look, could you help me understand that, right? So how might the mental health intellectual disability consultant help these families if it were to work?
Well, Greg, do you know what? My wife gave a perfect example the last year. We were just chatting. Campbell Grandin, probably the most famous autistic person in the world. And as she says, as a person, she would not have survived without medication, which is mild medication that she's taken. She would not survive in life. Now, some of these children do need medication. And I'm not saying I'm not a doctor in that, but again, Greg, me and you, if we suffer from anxiety, depression, we probably will get medication. But we've also known families who've gone through this system, who the children have been assessed, who have been given mild medication, and it's transformed their life. I'm not saying this about medicating every child. That's not about. But I'm just saying this is why it's so important.
No, but there are bands. There's dosages, and there's there are certain antidepressants that can take the edge off anxiety or worry.
Yeah.
I mean,
but, you have children whose anxiety is through the roof. They are not functioning. Even they're now, perfect example. One of the children I know, this child now is functioning at school. Therapies are working, which therapies never worked before. And this is another big thing. Sometimes they'll tell you in camps, oh, you need therapies. You don't need us, you need therapies. But if you can't get a child down to a level where they're able to do the therapies, it's impossible.
So would, in theory, the mental health intellectual disability consultant be able to assess the children that currently are being refused by CAMHS and potentially offer treatment solutions?
100%, yeah. Okay. But I'm just saying, how many of the families that are in dire straits now will get to see this person?
Yeah, okay.
And it's going to be an ongoing issue. This is going to be an ongoing issue. And they've said in there that they're working on a plan. There's actually no plan, Greg, to have somebody full-time here.
All right, stay where you are, will you? Because I do have to take a break and I want to talk a little bit more about this because there are people messaging in really desperate situations. So I want to make sure that we cover every element of this.
Treat someone special to luxurious relaxation time in the Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie, offering indulgent treatments, unique gifts and Christmas gift vouchers. 07491 25619. Seascape Spa at the Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
Chadwick's Letterkenny are hosting a big breakfast morning this Friday the 28th of November in aid of Breast Cancer Ireland with some of their key suppliers in store ready to talk trade and DIY. Amazing deals on the day will include DeWalt Combi brushless drills, €149. Atlas oak flooring, 12mm, $12.99 a square yard. 10 bags of salt tablets for €100. 20% of all mascot workwear, plus many more great offers. So call in this Friday, the 28th, to Chadwick's in Letterkenny and support Breast Cancer Ireland. Chadwick's. Let's get it done.
Enjoy locked-in prices all winter long with the Energy Winter Price Freeze. That means no price increases, so your bills remain straightforward, reliable and predictable. Switch to Energy today and save up to €958 a year on dual fuel. Energy, you just know. Price freeze until 1st of March 2026. Energy discount variable electricity rate EAB €1398. Discount variable gas rate €1174. For T's and C's, rates and savings calculations, see unoenergy.ie. Suppliers pricing may change.
Easy Living Furniture's massive Black Friday sale is now on, but the countdown is on because the sale ends this Friday. Enjoy up to 60% off everything, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattresses and accessories. Explore our magical Christmas department for festive inspiration while grabbing incredible Black Friday savings. Shop the massive Black Friday sale in Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry. Don't miss these unbeatable Black Friday deals.
Looking ahead to 2026? Now's the time to order your 261 Kia at Heron Auto, Donegal Town. With 5 brand new Kia models arriving, there's never been a better time to upgrade. With smart design, a 7-year warranty and finance starting from 0%, Kia delivers style, comfort and performance you can rely on. Visit Heron Auto, Donegal Town. Secure your 261 model today. Drive with confidence, drive with Heron Auto.
Want to get free stuff with Lidl Plus? Yes, free stuff. That's the points. Simply open Lidl Plus, check what Lidl points you've earned from previous shops and see what you could get for free. From rooster potatoes, carrots and chicken fillets to butter croissants, bananas and baby wipes. Don't miss the points. Claim your free items today. Lidl, more to value.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Discover Christmas gift ideas for everyone on your list. From trending beauty to memorable Secret Santa gifts. Visit us in Buffet to explore our extensive range of gifts or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
So it was a nasty night, wasn't it? Blustery today with widespread showers, heavy at times with the chance of hail and isolated thunderstorms. Through the late afternoon and evening, showers will merge into longer spells of rain for a time. Temperatures of 7 to 9 degrees. I'm in the company of parental advocate for people with special needs or special needs parents of children with special needs, Leonard Watson. Leonard, by the way, we're talking in the context of a new mental health intellectual disability consultant being appointed to work with CAMHS patients in Donegal in January. The problem here is that it's a temporary post and we don't know of any plan really to address this, what will be an ongoing issue. So for hopefully loads of families, but the reality is for some families, this might help, but it's not enough to address where we're at and where we might what we might need into the future. Leonard, is that an assessment that you agree with?
That's what I'm saying, Greg.
Okay.
I think there's about 24 families that need. I don't know if this consultant, if he's here for 3 or 4 months, can he see 24 families? Can he, But again, that's only the families we know at the moment. There's going to be more. It's going to be an ongoing issue. Like we need a full-time person.
Listen to this, family. I've been under so much pressure with our child that we've spoken about handing over our child to full-time care of the state. We've asked and begged for support, but there is just none. I have been contacted by parents so desperate that this is what they've done, or at least almost as respite involved Tusla, because they have got no support and they simply cannot cope anymore.
Like Greg, I say it's harrowing. Like you know it's like to miss 2 or 3 nights sleep. What do you feel like?
Oh,
Now you miss that for 6 months, 8 months, a year. Like you're not functioning as a parent. You're not functioning for your other children. You're not functioning at work. But I'm going to go back to the thing too. But turning away children with intellectual disabilities. Well, children with intellectual disabilities on a ticking clock. We're trying to get them to a stage where they'll have some kind of normal life, like. But when they're not functioning in life, you can't. The therapies won't work. The school won't work. So we're depriving them of maybe a life that they could have, like too. And it's wrong, and it is discrimination.
I've been trying to get help for my child who is autistic because he has some very violent episodes and strikes out. On a number of occasions, he's badly attacked his grandparents, and on a number of occasions, his siblings. What help was I given? I was reported to Tusla over safety concerns about his siblings. You couldn't make it up. Yeah. So that's an example of what you were talking about. They're looking for help. They know that perhaps with some extra support or medical intervention, their child might cope better and benefit better from any other interventions. But instead, the state is threatening or worried about the other child.
Yeah.
So you say nothing, do
You
you?
know, and
you say nothing.
Like one of them families, Greg, and you couldn't make it up. Tusla came to take a child, but they're going to leave a baby in the house. You know, if they're so worried about the children, like, you know, you don't take away an older child and then leave a baby, like, you know.
Oh my God. All right. Another one, if you don't mind, Leonard, because I want people to understand exactly what we're talking about. My child is 13 and has a learning disability and mental health issues, self-harm, low mood, emotional distress, aggression, challenging behaviours, anxiety. If she presented at CAMS, there would be challenges because she was neurotypical. She was not seen within days. Because she has a learning disability, CAMS have refused to see her and have not assessed her clinical need. She's been downright refused based on cognitive ability. She was previously accepted by CAMS and discharged. It's been 6 months and they've refused to see her. The HSE has been absolutely no help. The Donegal mental health team have refused to answer phone calls or emails. I've asked for her to be outsourced to a mental health intellectual disability psychiatrist. Parents are not being liaised with. They're making it clear that my child is not as important or cared for as she has a learning disability. We spend all day trying to keep my child safe and occupied. A psychiatrist would help. We need a medication that only CAMS can administer. This really affects my daughter's quality of life. My child, regardless of ability, should be entitled to the same mental health service as any other child. If I turned up at the ED and my child had a broken leg, she'd be seen. She would not be refused because of a learning disability.
Yeah.
That's another...
That's, like I say, Greg, if I went to CAMS with a neurotypical child who's suffering from depression, that child would be seen as an emergency and would be helped. I turn up with a child with an intellectual disability, you're putting the long finger, you're told to go away. Like.
Do we know how many vacancies there are for MHID consultants in this county? So do you see how one's being appointed on a temporary basis? Yeah. Are they saying to us that they do recognise a need, that there are one or two posts that aren't filled, that we have a plan to have a consultant or consultants in place into the long term? You know what? They obviously recognise there's a gap here because they're filling it, but are they giving us any information about what their long-term plan is?
Like, Greg, you're saying they see there's a gap, there's funding. This is only because of political pressure. Like, I've been chatting to all the TDs, even pressure from us as parents reps. This has only been filled because there's pressure coming on them at the moment. Like, but Greg, one full-time person in this job would make a huge difference to this county. Like, you're not going to have hundreds of cases, but you're going to have a lot of cases, and probably one would be a help. Over a year, one consultant could do a lot of work.
What do we know about the temporary nature of this position? If we've been given any details,
we're not really. You know what? This happened over a year ago, and I think the consultant came for about 3 or 4 months. But again, how many can that person see in 3 or 4 months? Like?
Right. So we need to get on to the relevant minister here. We do personally.
Yeah. No, we were meant to have a meeting actually with the disability manager, and then she changed posts.
Yeah, we need to put the pressure on here in relation to this, because this is unacceptable. All children should be treated equally. Our children should be treated equally on a geographical basis, but all children within this area should be treated equally.
Yeah, and it's just not happening. It's just something has to be done, because this is just going to be an ongoing thing. And you know what, Greg, I do fear what's going to happen in the future. Like, you do fear with what's going on in families. You can't fathom what could happen.
Well, listen to that situation there of the grandparents and siblings, and you've a family that recognises this as an issue, and they're screaming out for help. Oftentimes, I would say in the past, these kids would have just fell between the cracks or whatever it might. You've got a family there that all they want to do is help their child, and they're begging the state to help them. They've identified the problems, and they're at threat of Tusla getting involved in their family as part of their fight. Why would anyone stick their head up if your family could be broken up?
Yeah, I've chatted
with no resolution.
Chatting to a lady the last day who went to the doctor to beg for help, and the doctor says there's nothing to do. She ended up leaving with antidepressants for herself. Like, she's just not coping now. Like.
GPs can't prescribe for these children.
Not. Yeah, it has to be calmed.
Okay.
And the GPs are referring these children. Therapists are referring them. The schools are writing letters to say the child's not functioning at school. Even on that, there, like, the child's going into class and showing these traits. The teachers aren't able to cope.
And a lot of this could be triggered by something like anxiety. And some of these medicines are incredibly effective at just lowering the anxiety, which makes everything else more.
We have seen evidence of that in children, Greg. Like, I personally know cases where this has happened. Like.
Yeah. Anything else you need to add in relation to this? Like, I want more parents. I mean, obviously, the more information we have, I want to get a dossier of cases together to sort of bring to the attention of the minister, and hopefully secure some sort of an interview where these questions can be asked directly to them. We've seen in some cases where a minister might go, well, I didn't know it was that bad, and action has been taken really quite quickly. I don't care whether that's true or not, as long as the result's the same, that we are treated the same and our kids are treated the same as everybody else.
Greg, they know. We've been at meetings with top officials in the HSE and that, and they know that.
If they want to plead ignorance and if it gets us to where we need to be,
I know
where
that,
I'm coming from. Okay. Right, Leonard, thanks for helping me sort of get a greater understanding of that as the conversation went on, because you can't beat that. And I think our listeners are certainly going to be shocked to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
Those that aren't directly affected by this.
Yeah, but I would stress if families ring in and tell you their stories, because they are harrowing stories.
You can email comments@highlandradio.com or give us a call on 07491 25,000. I'm not necessarily looking for people to come on air. We've talked about how, it can be difficult to raise your concerns for fear of it working against you. So I recognise that. So any contact with us is completely confidential, and we can work through it with you from there. As I say, I want to be able to put a very strong case towards any minister that I get access to in relation to this stuff. And I'd love to see maybe our local government politicians back in the families on this one if they haven't already.
Yeah.
Leonard Watson, thank you.
Not at all. Thanks,
I appreciate it. Thanks for
appreciate
calling up. Leonard
you.
Watson there, who's a very strong and vocal parents advocate for special needs parents.
The 9 till noon show with the Silver Tassie Hotel, the perfect venue for a Christmas get-together, serving festive lunch, afternoon tea and dinner throughout December. Follow Silver Tassie Hotel on Facebook and Instagram.
At Hidden Hearing, we believe you should keep hearing it all. Keep dancing. Keep celebrating. Keep laughing. Keep being you. Call 1-800-370-000 or go to hiddenhearing.ie and book a free hearing test today. Hidden Hearing. Your hearing is our expertise.
The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mazzell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour. This award-winning show is full of laughter, music and song. See The Three Amigos live. Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny, Monday, January 26th. Tickets priced $39.50, now on sale at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where extra charges may apply. The Three Amigos live. This show is not to be missed.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, IPAF MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
'Twas the countdown to Christmas and all through the house, everyone wishing for a National Trust Day out. But to where, you ask? Well, tell you we will. Adventures await, pure joy, sheer thrill. Rowallan Gardens Yuletide Market returns. With Mount Stewart's festive trail, great family fun. For a Georgian Christmas, it's Castle Ward. And the Argery's Twilight Market is one to look toward. So wrap up warm and you can rely. For great Christmas fun, search National Trust NI.
Black Friday is now on at the Cope Dunlow. Hurry, sale ends this Sunday, 30th of November. Get up to 50% off men's and ladies' fashion, homeware, sportswear, appliances and gadgets. Shop in-store or online at thecope.ie.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Heading into the last hour of the week on the programme, let's get a news update at 11 and say good morning again to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Detectives in Derry investigating assaults on 4 police officers and a custody detention officer in the Cullen Lane area yesterday morning have charged a man with a number of offences. The 20-year-old has been charged with 3 counts of assault on police, 2 counts of assault on a police designated person and possession of a Class B controlled drug. He's due before Derry Magistrates Court today. Defective Blocks Ireland says the multi-party legal action and related proceedings against the Irish state led by Coleman Legal remains a vital route to accountability and redress for families across Donegal whose homes have been devastated. They've issued an update on the progress with the proceedings. That full update is available on our website highlandradio.com. They say it's now entering into a crucial next phase. Clara funding totalling €763,000 has been announced for 11 projects in Donegal. Clara provides funding for small-scale infrastructure projects in rural areas that have suffered significant levels of population decline. The latest round of funding benefits projects in Ardra, Clohan, Convoy, Termon, Gweedore, Glenculmkill, Glenties, Bonanilver, Kilcar, Pettigo and Inishbotham. A man's been extradited from the Canary Islands to Northern Ireland to face child sex abuse charges. The 45-year-old was arrested in Las Palmas in Gran Canaria and flown back to the north, where he's due in court in Coleraine today. He's facing charges of engaging in sexual activity with a child alleged to have occurred in Ballymena 5 years ago. And the Donegal councillor says the grants available for developing new wells need to be increased and the terms and conditions need to be changed to reflect current realities. Councillor Micheál Naughton told a meeting this week that at present people have to live in their home for a set period before they can get the grant, but with so many people now availing of grants to bring vacant properties back into use, that condition is outdated. The council is writing to Minister James Brown to seek the changes. And we're back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thanks very much.
For 25 years, the Citizens Information Board has been your trusted source for clear and reliable information on rights and entitlements. As times have changed, so have we, making sure you always have access to unbiased information. So if you're wondering where to turn for information on your rights and entitlements, we're your free and reliable source. For more, go to citizensinformation.ie. Citizens Information Board, a trusted source for 25 years.
Now, the IHREC is very concerned about new immigration measures, proposals to restrict rights in a number of key areas such as family reunification and restricted citizenship. These have been a cornerstone of Ireland's immigration policy for many years. Liam Herrick is Chief Commissioner of the Human Rights and Equality Commission. Good morning, Liam.
Good morning, Greg.
Right, so, I've kind of outlined it there. I just want more information as to why the Commission would be opposed to these new rules.
Well, I suppose, Greg, we don't know the full detail yet. I mean, the government kind of gave indications over the weekend, and then there was cabinet decisions this week. But a lot of what's being proposed will require legislation. But broadly speaking, it seems that the government is intending to impose significant restrictions on the access route for citizenship for people who've been granted refugee status, the right to family reunification, and also to impose charges on people that are living in state accommodation. Now, you can look at them all individually, but the overall direction here seems to be that by making it harder to become a citizen once you have a right to be in the country, and by also making it more difficult for you to have unification with your family once you've got a right to be here, that we're going to make Ireland a less attractive place for people to claim asylum and international protection, going to make it more hostile for them, and that might reduce the number of people that are coming to the country.
And that's why it's being done, Liam.
Difficulty,
isn't it? That's why it's being done.
The case. That seems to be the motivation. Now, this really is giving the argument that there are pull factors that are drawing people to the country. And I think in terms of that causal effect, it's not at all clear that it will have that, because we know, right, when you look over the last 20 years or so, the number of people that come to Ireland for international protection go up and down in complex patterns, mainly to do with what happens in other parts of the world, most obviously with regard to the war in Ukraine, and also wars in other parts. So the idea that these kind of regulations in Ireland are likely to determine whether people are fleeing persecution will come here or not, it's not at all clear. But I suppose what's of more concern to us is that it's not clear that the government is thinking through the other effects of these types of measures, the kind of consequences it's going to have for individuals and families, and also in the longer term for integration. So if we look at the citizenship issue, it's been a real cornerstone and a huge success story of Ireland's migration and international protection policy for 20 years. that once you are granted refugee status here, once we have recognised that you're fleeing persecution and you have the right to be here, that we encourage people to become part of our community and our nation. They can't go back to where they came from because they're fleeing persecution. They apply to become a citizen and then become part of the Irish nation. We've all seen the citizenship ceremonies that the government has been promoting for years. And now, for some reason, the government is saying that rather than being able to apply for citizenship after 3 years, and of course there's a process to evaluate people's claims, you can't claim for 5 years. Now, that's not going to deter people who are not legitimate asylum seekers from applying to come here. It's only affecting people once they've been granted refugee status, and it's hard to see what the positive benefits are, but what we can see are the negative consequences, that people won't be able to become a full part of the Irish nation, even though they're entitled to be in the country.
But Liam, I mean, the general consensus is, though, and you can correct me, by the way, if I've misframed this, but in Britain and Northern Ireland, they are tightening up rules. They're next door neighbours. The concern, obviously, within government is that we will be overstretched, that we will be the next option. And, you know, whilst there has been a great number of people that have come here fleeing persecution, there are, according to the government too, quite a percentage of those that are maybe just seeking access to Europe or are coming here just for financial benefits. So there is something in there that does need to be resolved.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right, Greg, that we are hearing consistently from government references, and indeed from the opposition, references to the common travel area. Now, I don't need to be telling your listeners about the efforts that the Irish government has taken over the last 10 years to ensure that we won't have a hard border on the island of Ireland, that will protect the common travel area, that we don't want to have border checks and racial profiling in Lifford, for example. And all of a sudden, we're now saying that we're going to be trying to follow UK policy on migration at a time when UK policy and migration is going in a particular direction. And when I say a particular direction, we now have two of the largest parties in the United Kingdom saying that they want to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. This is a cornerstone of the Good Friday Agreement and a cornerstone of our legal system. And the Labour Party, the other of the three major parties, is saying that it wants amendments and changes to the European Convention on Human Rights, which Ireland is completely opposed to. So,
but Liam,
we all know that the patterns of movement between Ireland and Britain are very complex, and these type of measures are unlikely to change the patterns overnight. But we also need to be very careful of following Britain when it's going down quite a dark direction.
Liam, you obviously are Chief Commissioner of the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission, but there are, you know, rights of those living here, Irish citizens or those just living here at the moment. You know, the right to equality and fairness in terms of paying rent. You know, some people in this country pay rent, others now might be asked to pay rent. At the moment, we have a situation whereby people from Ukraine living and working here can avail of €600 towards their monthly rate. That's not equality or equal to those in the rental market that don't have access to that money, for an example. Do you think your commission needs to speak more about the rights of all Irish citizens, the fact that people living here have equal access to school bus transport, you know, medical appointments, hospitals, etc.?
Well, I mean, just to be clear, Greg, we're absolutely concerned about all of those issues all the time. We're involved in legal cases. We're supporting people who are bringing claims out to the Workplace Relations Commissioner, to the courts, with regard to all of those issues. And, you know, there's nothing proposed this week that addresses the Ukrainian situation, but with regard to what was proposed this week for people living in direct provision, what the government is now saying is that if you're an asylum seeker who's allowed to work, that you should make a contribution to your rent. Nobody has a difficulty with that in principle, but it's also completely misleading from the reality of the situation. If people who have been in the system so long that they are allowed to work are working, they don't want to be in direct provision.
No,
they
of
want
course
to be in
not.
private rental accommodation.
Yeah.
And the only reason that they're not a private rental accommodation is because of the same problems everybody else is facing. I mean, the absurdity of some
exactly.
of this, Greg,
No, I
is when you
understand. So
consider
that's why surely it's only fair because everyone's in the same boat, right? And you talk about integration and what have you. It's only fair if someone's earning over €600 that they contribute, what is it, 115, 120 euro towards to the state for that accommodation. That's not unreasonable. That is equality.
I think it's I think it's a bit of a red herring, though, because, you know, if you go down to some of the direct provision centres, in the weather we're having at the moment, there are men sleeping in tents outdoors. And that's the level of accommodation we provide them in Ireland. Are we going to be charging the people that are living in tents? Of course, there's another cohort of people that Ireland does not even provide tents for. Some of the male asylum seekers arriving in Ireland today are provided with no support, no tent, no accommodation. So, like, I think it's a bit of a red herring to talk about the very small number of people who are working but are in direct provision. And does this mean that then they will have a contract with the state? So,
but
I
Liam,
think the
just
real
one
issue
final
here
question is part of being able to treat everyone as fairly and equally and respectfully as possible is to look at where we are at now in terms of the amount of houses available, school places, hospital capacity, GP dental capacity. Is to we are here now, and it will take a generation maybe to fix that. Is part of being fair to people not to put your hands up and say, or to bring in measures that discourage more people from entering into this unequal system. In other words, what I'm effectively saying is introduce measures, as the government is doing, to try and restrict the numbers coming in here, because it's not fair, is it, to be allowing people in here if you don't actually have the facilities or the resources to treat them fairly and equally.
Well, I think, Greg, when we look at who's coming into Ireland, the measures that are being introduced by the government this week seem disproportionately be targeting refugees and people seeking international protection, which are a very small proportion of the overall migration into Ireland. Of course, we should be having a conversation about the bigger picture, about people who come here for work permits, who come here for students. And the vast majority of people that come into Ireland every year are Irish people that are returning, or British people coming here, people from the European Union. It's a very complex issue. But there's a danger in Ireland if the government, when it has failed to address the housing crisis over 15 years, is implicitly blaming refugees and their families. And I think that's the danger. That's where Britain has gone. And I think that's what we need to be very careful of. So I don't think the measures this week are likely to have that effect, are likely to deter people who are fleeing persecution from coming here. But they could very well lead to a deterioration in integration and the attitudes of the public towards refugees. And that's a danger. So I don't think it's
one final question,
but I think it's a negative effect.
Yeah, one final question, Liam, just from the Commission's perspective, if this is a space that you have a position. There are many communities across Donegal and across Ireland whereby, you know, there has been a massive shift in the makeup of communities. You know, you will have large swathes of Letterkenny whereby it seems to be predominantly young men from other countries, right? And I'm not using any tropes in relation to that. I'm just stating what people feel and say. So you'll have parts of Letterkenny where it's primarily young men from different cultural backgrounds, different race, different whatever it might be, right? And communities feel, maybe it's down to a lack of information or whatever it might be, but communities feel that their areas have changed very drastically, very, very quickly. And maybe it's because of a misunderstanding. They feel that those places or some areas are now less safe. What is the what would be your personal commentary to those people? Do you understand where they're coming from? And has the Commission a position on how those genuine concerns could be addressed?
Well, the first question, I think, is in relation to the safety, Greg. And just to be absolutely clear on that, An Garda Síochána have consistently said that increases in migration have not led to increases of crime. And that's universal across the country. There may be people who perceive things differently from time to time, but it's not based on fact.
But discomfort
The second thing
and
is that,
intimidation is not necessarily a crime, and that's what some people report. But listen, I don't want to sound like I'm being anti this or anti that. I'm just trying to relate to what people are feeling.
Discomfort is a fair point, Greg. I mean, discomfort is that change can lead to discomfort, which is a different thing completely. And of course, we could do a lot better in Ireland about communicating with communities and in terms of integration. That's why I think citizenship has been a real success in that regard, where people who want to become part of the community pay taxes and really show that they're committed to Ireland. The chances of integration are much better. And a real problem that has arisen is because the government policy has been so reactive. There's been significant changes in some communities over short periods of time, and change is hard. So look, I'm not going to in any way suggest that change isn't difficult for communities and we could do a lot better on reintegration. But I want to completely dispel a suggestion that migration has led to increases in crime. It's absolutely not the case. The
I
Guards have
actually never
unequivocally
said that.
confirmed that
I
consistently.
understand you want to emphasise that, but I never said that. I said less safe.
You said some people might feel less safe.
Yeah, less
and,
safe.
And
yeah.
I think I understand that is true, Greg, but I don't think it's based on fact. You didn't suggest
Well,
it at all.
no,
but you did
yeah.
say some people might feel less safe, and I think the Guards have dispelled that.
Well, no, not really, because as I say, I don't want to get in. I'm on about what we be contacted about. Say, for instance, a person or a girl walking down a street, and maybe some inappropriate comments or whatever along those lines. But listen, I understand where you're coming from, but I wasn't talking about crime per se, Liam, because I would have had those conversations with Ungada Síochána myself. Thanks very much for the broad conversation. I do appreciate it. Liam Herrick, Chief Commissioner of the Human Rights and Equality Commission.
Your one-stop shop this Christmas. Gift vouchers for the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa are available online at silvertassiehotel.com or from hotel reception. The Silver Tassie, proud sponsors of today's show.
The Ready Set Ford 261 sales event is on this November. Discover incredible savings across Ford's electrified range, from the sleek Puma Gen E and versatile Kuga plug-in hybrid to the adventurous Explorer and iconic Capri. With prices from just €28,900, there's never been a better time to drive a new Ford. Visit Ford.ie or your local dealer by 30th of November. Ready, Set, Ford. T's and C's apply. Price excludes delivery and dealer-related charges and includes grant and VRT relief. See Ford.ie for details.
This Christmas, make it magical with a top name fragrance or gift set from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose from names like Chanel, Lancôme and Dior. Also Jimmy Choo, Yves Saint Laurent, Prada and many more, all at great prices. From timeless classics to the latest designer scents, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Shop in store or online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Ireland's favourite folk group, the High Kings, are kicking off 2026 right here on Donegal with the Rocky Road Tour. Expect new songs, timeless favourites, and all the incredible energy you love. The Mount Jericho Hotel, Letterkenny, January 2nd. Get your tickets now at ticketmaster.ie or hotel reception. Presented by Joe Gallagher Entertainments.
This Christmas, wear the magic of the Donegal crest. Try the new Donegal Hydra range. Tees, polos and fleece tops. Perfect gifts for every Donegal supporter this festive season. Brian McCormick Sports. In-store or online at bmcsports.ie. Kitting out Donegal since 1995.
Save 20% in the Loganair Tartan sale with promo code Tartan20. Book now at loganair.co.uk. T.C's and exclusions apply, subject to availability.
Bring home chef quality food this Christmas with Dunnes Stores Simply Better. Entertain in style with Irish farmhouse and continental cheeses, served alongside Italian and Spanish charcuterie meats. And there's plenty to share with Black Tiger tempura prawns or our handmade dips like our new Hot Honey Ranch. And you can save more with your 10 off 50 voucher. Dunnes Stores. Make Christmas simply better. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher could be used in next grocery shop.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
20 past 11. It's that time of the week where we welcome into studio our own Shannon Wilkins Wilkins. She's been keeping her eye on social media. The trends all week. It changes so quickly. 6-7 is not there anymore now.
Not relevant, man.
It is. It comes and goes. Come here. How are you? You're heading off to Watson's Hire with John Breslin around the Northwest. What are you doing?
So there is a big Black Friday marquee sale. So be sure to call around.
Oh,
if you're in the
really?
area.
How
Yeah.
exciting.
I think you might even get something.
Yeah,
A few tools.
I was down there not so long ago, actually.
Yeah.
I have a lot of tools now. I need a place to store them, organise them.
So you could even buy stuff to build another shed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could do that.
Anything
all right.
you need.
So, and then another shed for the other shed and the could
Yep.
daisy chain. Right, okay, what's the audio trends on TikTok and Insta this weather?
So they play this with the background of the song Silver Springs, and there are people who will tell you not to X, for example, get a career in journalism because you'll make no money and
Yeah.
you'll be unemployed. It's very important that you don't listen to them.
Why?
Because it just shows like how great life is, and then couples, like if your parents say like don't date this person, and then it shows the
And
love
then
story.
it cuts to
Yeah.
I've seen that, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 3-page story, right?
Yeah.
So the first page is what you're told not to do. The second page is produced and directed by,
Mhm.
and then the third one is you didn't listen to that advice
you
and you
doing
got
it.
on in life. Yeah, it
Yes.
is good. Parents can sometimes what we do accidentally is you almost hold people back because you know you don't want people to take risks, because it's not because you don't want them to get on, it's that you don't want them to potentially
There's
fail.
a fear there.
Exactly. So you think that you sometimes have to check myself that my advice is not grounded in my own fear of failure. You know?
Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
yeah.
But everyone has to make their own mistakes too.
What
so.
is the Australia effect?
Have you
G'day,
seen
mate.
this one?
No, I don't know. You explain. Normally, you put a name on it. I haven't a clue what you're on about,
See,
and then I understand.
You were getting them too fast whenever I was putting more detail in them. So
Right.
then I was like, what am I going to talk about?
Okay.
So the Australia effect is people go over to Australia, they might be a bit ugly or a bit fake looking.
Right.
And then they go over there, their natural beauty is conquered. They're so fit, they're gorgeous,
Yes.
they're eating healthy, they're running 10Ks, and they just look amazing.
Yeah,
So-
well, a breakup seems to do that too.
But it's more about your lifestyle. So even I was chatting to a girl. Remember I was telling you I met the doll in Prague, and she
Yes.
was from Australia.
Yeah.
She's like, everyone eats sushi because it's so healthy.
Yes, but lots of people
that's
do
what-
that here.
But it wouldn't be
you can
as
be
common.
healthy. Yes, but you can do all of that here.
But you don't wake up in winter at 6 a.m. and be like, oh, geez, I can't wait to go for a
No,
run.
I don't
do you
do
know?
that. I don't do that in the throes of July.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So I must check out the Australia effect. I'm a Celebrity is I just didn't see the first episode. Sometimes I've watched this most of the time, but I didn't see the first episode. It was a bit like The Traitors. I didn't want to join late, and I haven't watched a second of it.
I'm not going to lie, I haven't watched much of it either.
Right.
But I catch up on all kind of TV programs through the internet. So you'll see wee clips of
Yes,
them, or you'll see memes trending. It was the same with Big Brother.
Yeah.
I saw Jenny the whole time.
Kelly Brook's been getting a lot of hassle for her. Well, I say that. I've seen a lot of people defending Kelly Brook. She, back in the day, she was never out of FHM and Loaded and all those magazines. She's gone on to have a successful career. And I think she still looks fantastic, to be honest with you. But a lot of people saying, would you leave Kelly alone, stop body shaming? I've not seen any of that. I've only seen
know.
people defending her. I think I said this to you a couple of days ago. The criticism I would have seen of her is her personality, certainly not her physique. I mean, she's shaped like a regular woman, really, if the truth be told. But anyway, what else has happened in I'm a Celebrity? It's okay for men to cry?
So this is a viral moment that went viral with Angry Ginge and Jack Osborne. So Jack got a bit emotional about the death of his father, Ozzy
yeah.
Osbourne. And then there's a clip taken where they put the two captions with the picture of them. Promise I'll never cry in front of you again, Ginge. And then he replies, it's all right, mate, men cry too.
Oh.
So it was a nice
Okay.
wee moment, you know, you can be open. Another funny one that I've been seeing is all the girls shaving each other because they've got mustaches and little chin
Beards,
hairs.
okay.
Yeah, and then I saw another
Do you
thing.
think that's real? Do women really do that? Or is that just something they've done to try and be normal on the telly?
But I don't, like, you do kind of have to upkeep it, like, once you start. Like, they're there.
okay. All
Like,
right
my
then.
mommy's always like, once you start plucking your chin hairs, that's it. You start.
That's the style
it.
of it, right? But what's
Yeah.
the alternative? Right, car dent remover hack. Is
So-
this not pouring hot water on a dent? Is it? This
It
has been
is,
around.
with the
This has been
plunger.
around a long time.
But I've only like seen it recently, and Mommy has this massive dent in her car, and she's
Boil the
very angry
kettle.
about it. So I'm so excited to try it.
Yeah,
and
but if it's a
watch the
dent
plunger.
whereby if it's a dent whereby there's like lines in it,
Mm.
I think you might struggle. This kind of works over the arches and all, where it's kind of it's been pushed in. But when are you going to try it, and are you going to video it?
I better video it now that I've
Okay,
said
so you
it.
boil
just to
it. It's
see
a
the
kettle of
result.
boiling water.
Yeah.
You pour it over the dent and then
you get your plunger and you plunge it out.
Okay, so you're going to do that one live for us? Well, not live.
Well, not live. I'll take a video. But what if it doesn't work? That'll be
Because
like,
it
very
disproves it.
embarrassing.
It means it'll save other people pouring boiling water over their lovely paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair.
yeah.
Maybe I'm not even allowed to do it. I probably should have cleared that first. But anyway.
With whom?
With my mum.
Well, she's committed to it now.
Yeah,
You
well,
know. Cardi B umbilical cord.
So we had the whole Calvin Harris placenta thing before,
Yeah,
and
I
that was
remember
quite
really
strange.
not enjoying that, yeah.
Yeah, but
Although
Cardi-
that being said, I spoke to a lady from Strabane, wasn't it, or Derry, that does
Yeah.
this work, and all of a sudden it was like, right, okay. I had this thing in my head that it was something separate to what it was.
the capsules, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
but
a bit
no, it
nicer.
wasn't. Well, it wasn't consuming it as much. It was more of the art that was made and stuff, right? But anyway, go ahead. What's Cardi
so
B
she's
doing?
encased her fourth child's umbilical cord in gold, so that she always has that memory. I don't know, would I like that hanging up on the mantelpiece
I
now?
don't think so. But again, if it was done a certain way, I just don't see the symbolism of it. Maybe. I mean, obviously, it's an incredibly important thing that, you know, a mum feeds the baby with, but
Do you remember even back in the day, though, you'd get like those wee jars and it'd be like baby's first trinkets or whatever. I still have a tiny bit of my umbilical cord in a jar.
I get that. But
So maybe
it's-
gold would have been better.
Yeah, it is. But of what, like when was your mum keeps coming up in conversation? When did your mum take that out last and just look at it and go?
It's
"Ah."
actually in my granddad's house.
Right. Okay. Well, when did
It's not even in our house.
you know? It's a little bit like saving teeth. You know.
I think the hair is cute. I love the hair idea.
Yeah,
Baby's
the first haircut. Yeah, I get
Mhm.
you. I just wonder if someone does retain. Sometimes there's an awful lot of chucking out that has to happen. You know, when someone dies, right? This sounds terrible, and I can't help but think that there's that container with the umbilical cord's the first thing in the skip. Right, that's all I'm thinking. Now, if it's gold plated, it might be different.
But
But
then,
anyway.
like, would you just melt it down and get the umbilical
No,
cord?
to be honest, I was thinking more of
Imagine
your.
going
I
up
was
to the
thinking
cash
more
for
of your
gold. Here, I've got this for you.
I was thinking more of your trinket. That would be first into the skip. No harm to you.
Oh,
But anyway,
sad.
all right. It might be the most important thing to your granddad. Matthew McConaughey. There's two of them that I mix up. Matthew's from True Detective, isn't he?
I'm the wrong person to
Right,
ask.
okay.
I'm not a true detective.
All right,
gal.
okay.
He's done all the rom-coms.
Did he do?
And there's rumours that he's Woody Harrelson's brother.
I'll Google him actually just to make sure. But anyway, go on. He loves his wife.
He loves his wife, so he's recently reflected on past relationships and what he wanted before meeting his wife Camilla
it is
Alves.
him. Yeah, it is him.
He said that he dated great women before, but was looking for a real life partner who felt like a best friend. So then he has a wee quote. Then she came 3 months later. I met Camilla. 20 years later, she's still the only woman I've ever wanted to take on a date, sleep with, or wake up next to.
Oh.
So that's cute.
Lovely. Okay, that's her Christmas present sorted. She's a very beautiful woman. Right, okay. And Drake and Kim Kardashian, friends with benefits. Is this exactly what it feels like you're going to talk about? Be careful, please.
I am being
Thank
careful,
you.
don't worry. This was just juicy to me. I was like, wow. So apparently this has been going on since 2012 when Drake even moved into a Hidden Hills mansion beside her. And then the thing that really set the rumours going recently is they were together in Italy last summer on a vacation. But there's been people talking about like Kim Kardashian won't want to be in a relationship again because she had so much work with Kanye. Like she was basically his mum. So it's interesting.
I would say it would be very difficult to date as a celebrity.
You'd have no
'cause
privacy.
yeah, but even not just, well, that would be part of it, but even just the trust. Why are we together? What do you want from me? You know, are you trying to, and I don't even mean financially, is it like reflected glory? And then having everything. Can you imagine having everything, Shannon? Would you be happy? Do you know, it's the little
You
struggles.
wouldn't trust people, I think, would be quite hard.
I just don't know. You were talking actually too about Matthew McConaughey. I don't know Richard Branson from Adam. I'm not even sure if he's a very controversial character or not. I do know him, of course, from in terms of the airlines and TV and all that kind of stuff. But his wife died during the week, and she was 80.
She looked beautiful.
They've been together for ages, and it's just something in the we see it all the time, obviously, in real life. You just actually don't see that in the celebrity world that often. We've seen it with Dolly Parton too, but I can name a handful of cases where these relationships had the longevity, and so it was nice.
There were proper partners as well. I read that she was the person who brought the initiative that any loose change that you had in your pockets, you donated to charity, and they've raised millions from that. So she was a lovely
Their own
lady.
loose change or other people's?
So let's say you're on a flight now, and oh geez, I have a pound in my pocket. Here you go.
Okay. I love how now I'm going to contradict myself. I love how celebrities tell us how we should spend our money, and then with millions, it's like these charity appeals. You know, I'm a famous person, donate to this. Well, what are you doing? What have you done? Are you just giving up your time, and that helps you sleep at night? You've got more money than me, son. Anyway, Shannon, you're going to Watson's. Are you based in the? You haven't been down on site yet. Are you in store? Are you?
We will be in the back of the marquee, because that's where all the good stuff is
Brilliant.
happening.
All right, you'll be well looked after down there. Call in and say hello and get some details on the Black Friday deals down at Watson's. Shannon's there, John Bresnan is there, Joe will be there, and the crack will be 90. Thanks, Shannon.
The 9 till noon show with Donegal's multi-award winning wedding venue, the Silver Tassie Hotel, planning dream weddings for generations. Email weddings@silvertassiehotel.ie for information on their brand new wedding packages.
Want to refresh your style without breaking the bank or the planet? Shopping Spree is back this Saturday, November 29th from 12 to 3 at the Garden Centre, Carndonagh. Expect reels of pre-loved fashion, almost new toys, upcycling tips, plus music, buzzing vibes and beautiful gift ideas for Christmas in our Garden Centre store. It's about fun, fashion and sustainability rolled into one. Join the movement. Shopping Spree. Look good, feel good and do good.
Department confirms cuts to farm payments. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, we reveal what schemes are in the firing line for livestock farmers. Widespread tagging discrepancies exposed in Brazil. Weanling records smashed at Carrick Winter Fair. Why a Revo and Dale Farm merger is on hold. And are there too many beef factories in Ireland? Never miss a story by getting an Irish Farmers Journal home delivery subscription. Sign up today and get a free farm bucket full of Irish Farmers Journal merchandise. Visit ifj.ie/bucket.
Easy Living Furniture's massive Black Friday sale is now on, but the countdown is on because the sale ends this Friday. Enjoy up to 60% off everything, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattresses and accessories. Explore our magical Christmas department for festive inspiration while grabbing incredible Black Friday savings. Shop the massive Black Friday sale in Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry. Don't miss these unbeatable Black Friday deals.
This Sunday, tune Highlands Way for live coverage from the Donegal Under-21 Football Championship Final. Defending champions Four Masters go up against the Niamh Connell club, who are looking to make a clean sweep of titles in the county this year. Throw-in is 2 p.m. in Ballyshannon. Highlands coverage of the Donegal Under-21 Final is in association with McCafferty's Bar at the Pier, Donegal Town. Opening December 1st. Enjoy live music and amazing food every day of the week at Donegal Town's newest hotspot.
Ready for a cosy night watching the toy show? Get festive and save 50% off all Christmas decor at Homeland Letterkenny. Save 50% off Christmas trees, lights, baubles, gifts and more while stocks last. Shop in-store or online at homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available.
Chadwick's Letterkenny are hosting a big breakfast morning this Friday the 28th of November in aid of Breast Cancer Ireland, with some of their key suppliers in store ready to talk trade and DIY. Amazing deals on the day will include DeWalt Combi brushless drills, €149. Atlas oak flooring, 12mm, $12.99 a square yard. 10 bags of salt tablets for €100. 20% of all mascot workwear, plus many more great offers. So call in this Friday, the 28th, to Chadwick's in Letterkenny and support Breast Cancer Ireland. Chadwick's. Let's get it done.
Now, Peter, hi, happy birthday to you from Kay and all at Ashlawn. Good morning. Could you please play a request for Carl Doherty, who's celebrating his 30th birthday today, from all the staff and students from Glenties Comprehensive School? I've been asked to mention that Lagan Inn in Manor Cunningham, they're holding a fundraising dance tonight in aid of the Irish Wheelchair Association. Music is by Robbie and the Rascals, and they start at 10 p.m. Now, the Moyle National School PTA presents Festive Tractor and Lorry Run. It is tomorrow. You're invited to join them for a fun-filled community evening in support of Moyle National School PTA. Registration is from 4 p.m. The run starts at 6 p.m. It's €20 per vehicle. And the starting point is Monfad Business Park. Light up the night. Decorate your tractors with festive lights and decorations. And they say, let's make the road shine bright for this special event. Spot prizes for the best dressed vehicle. Now, last shout out, by the way, thanks to our great sponsors, the Silver Tassie Hotel, who've been on board with us all week. This is your last chance to win an indulgent Yonka Delight package at their Seascape Spa. It's worth €155, which means this Yonka Delight would be a really nice present for someone special in your life. What does it include? Well, it lasts 2.5 hours. It's an aromatic steam session and cocoon room, a hot towel foot and back cleanse, a Yonka back massage and hydrating facial, pressure point face and scalp massage, warm oil foot massage, finished off with the snooze room, relaxation time and refreshments. Do you want to be with a chance to win? Well, just answer this question. Which of these is not traditionally associated with Christmas here? Is it A, mistletoe, B, candy canes, or is it C, fireworks? Now, text your answer, your name and where you're from to 086 60 25,000. WhatsApp or text, by the way. We're going to keep those lines open for 5 or 6 minutes. Then we'll close them. We're going to put all the winning entrants into our digital hat over the course of the 5 days, and we'll draw and announce the winner before 12. Now, we have been hinting at this for some time. It's kind of like one of the worst kept secrets, because the big card draw has got bigger now. So we have a car worth over €35,000 up for grabs. Someone is going to win it just before Christmas on the 9 till noon show. And things have got even better, because we're giving away multiples of €1,000 over various programs. And to tell us more about that, we're joined in studio by Highland CEO Sean Quinn. Sean, thanks for calling in.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
Right, good. Always good to see you when you're bringing in the cash. So it's
Friday.
Got bigger, isn't it?
It's Friday. We've got cash for a Friday. No, it's great, Greg. We did it last year for the first time. And so we gave away £1,000 a day for 10 days last Christmas. And you know what? We decided we're going to do the exact same this year. So today we're officially launching €1,000 a day starting from the 8th of December. So if you've already bought a ticket, you're in. If you haven't bought a ticket, I would say start buying a ticket, because you're going to have 10 chances to win over the 8th of December through to the 19th of December.
Right, so we've 11 prizes now all of a sudden. So that ticket that you bought yesterday or right at the start of the draw has now become extra special, because not only are you in with a chance of winning the beautiful Renault Symbios Techno worth over €35,000, we've a further 10 chances to win €1,000 a day. So get your tickets. They're €15 each. You can buy one ticket on our website, highlandradio.com. If you want to get 5, it's 5 for €50. So you can write people's name, not write them on. You can allocate tickets to individuals in your life, right? So if you want it to be a Christmas present, or you can get together with people in the house and just get the savings. 5 for €50 or 1 for 15, and as always, obviously only play if you can have a bit of fun and you have the spare cash for a punt. And it's just got far more attractive. 11 prizes in total. So as Sean mentioned, get your tickets now, because the first draws is not that far away, the 8th of December. It will roll around really quickly, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. And we found last year it got very busy so we've given people an extra few days this year to buy their tickets, because we were struggling to cope actually on the telephone lines. So we're going to kick off with your show on the 8th of December, Greg, where you'll give away €1,000. Next on the 9th is going to be JB around the Northwest. And then followed by David on the 10th and Jive Time. And then the Power Hour with Ivan on the 11th. And then not leaving the best will last is going to have on our breakfast, the Naughty Alarm Show on the 12th of December. So that 5 days, there'll be 5,000 of cash to give away, and then we'll do the exact same the following week.
The cycle continues then from the 15th of December. So it's 11 draws in total. Now, you don't have to answer your phone. You don't have to anything like that there. Your ticket is drawn, and that's your ticket. You've won instantly, right? So if you're out of the country or if you're working nights any of those weeks, don't worry about that. If your ticket's drawn out, you will win. And then that ticket goes back in because Sean is convinced that one of these days someone's going to win £1,000 and then they're going to go on and win the car. And statistically, it could happen.
They could win 10.
Yeah, so how do you get your tickets? It's perfectly safe and secure. HighlandRadio.com. You can do that there. All your details are kept really safe and secure. If you want, you can give us a call at the radio station, 07491 25,000, if that suits you. Or if you are one of the people that believe cash is king and you don't have anything digital, well, you can call into us here at the Mountaintop in Letterkenny. But what Sean is saying is correct. Just as we approach a draw, we get a massive, massive rush, and we do everything we can to make sure everybody is included. Of course we do that. But if you feel you might be that way inclined, get your ticket in now.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what number is drawn. So
No.
as you call, your number is given in at a certain time. So in other words, you could be the person that bought the first ticket or the person who bought the last ticket.
It just whatever goes into
So
that
get it
drum
whenever you want.
Yeah,
All right.
whatever goes in the drum, Greg, and comes out. It's just yes, there's a bit of chance, luck. You've got to be lucky. I was never lucky in my life. I'd say if it was my only
Landed on your feet here.
That's cold. That's not luck. That's hard work, buddy.
All right.
That's hard
Do
work.
you not make your own work? Look.
Well, sometimes you do, yeah.
So rig the draw then.
No. I couldn't do that. I'm not allowed to enter, and neither are you. So.
No, unfortunately not. And do you know what happens too then, Sean, when we start talking about the cash, because it's fantastic, we forget about the biggie. Because when all is done and dusted, there's still this blooming €35,000 plus car. You were over there launching it with Lawrence, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a cracker. It's a beauty.
It's class.
It's everything you'd want in a modern new car.
Yeah, if you're actually driving up by us in the mountaintop, it's sitting outside the garage.
Here? Okay,
so you can actually see it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful car. It's so well finished inside. What a price to get! Brand new car keys sitting for you this 2nd, 3rd of January of next year. Worth over 35,000. Unbelievable. Looks absolutely class.
The one thing I'll say too about this draw is that, I'm one of those ones that plays the odds and looks at odds and all that kind of stuff. And this is not a promise or commitment or anything. This is just my view and not necessarily the station's view. But this is a competition that we broadcast out here in Highland Radio and on our socials. And I can't remember the last time someone from outside our catchment won. It's always someone in our area, not exclusively, because people can buy tickets from wherever they are, but there ain't 100,000 people entering it, right? You can imagine it's not like that. Some of these draws, they're fantastic on social media, or even the lotto, right? You've got like one in a very, very big chance of winning. We've got 11 great prizes here from a smaller pot. I'm not going to even presume to guess the odds, but you can work it out yourself that you have a far better chance in a draw of this size. It's like I see it a little bit sometimes like the credit union draws, right?
Yeah.
You know the membership.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We don't know the membership, but you can guesstimate, right? And this is much more bang for your buck, I would argue. Tickets are €15 for one, 5 for 50. HighlandRadio.com, or call us or call in, Sean. And you have it up until the 8th, but we don't want to leave it till the 8th because there's €1,000 from the 9 till noon show. Right through to the Power Hour, and then onto the Naughty Alarm Clock, and the same 2 weeks in a row. So it's going to be money. You're going to make it rain, Sean.
It's going to be very busy, and it's it's a great time of year to get that call to say congratulations, you've won €1,000. It's a nice little gift to get before Christmas this time of year. So and you're probably right, Greg. There probably will be 10 winners, I would imagine. If the maths.
Okay, so I would love €1,000.
So would
I know what I'd spend it on.
What would you spend?
Well, I don't know. No, I know. I have a fair idea.
I know. I'd be straight to the travel agents. I have to say.
I thought you were going to say the bookies.
No. Travel agents, holiday.
Yeah, no, travel agents is a bit awkward for me at the moment. Just till we. Hudson's probably just a little bit too young, but we are going to do something. But no, there's other stuff. There's stuff I would get, stuff I would do. All right, listen, fantastic stuff, Sean. So it all kicks off the giveaways, and there's lots coming on as well. I know that are there any tickets? If there are any tickets for tomorrow night, it's going to be a very small amount. This is Highland Radio's big bingo night. It's going to be lots and lots of crack.
Yeah.
We've got Keith Fletcher and Lee Gooch hosting it, but don't let that put you off. No, I'm only messing. And there's going to be loads of fun, and it's just going. And do you know what the thing about it is? Too, by the way, just in case you're. Sometimes people are a little bit more quiet and reserved. You don't have to do anything. You can sit there and have a couple of drinks and have the crack and potentially win $1,000 on the bingo and other great prizes, or you can get as involved as you want to be. Right? It's all about your enjoyment as an individual. Marty Friel's fantastic at the music. Lee and Keith are great crack as well. I presume Anya and Corinne will be on hand just to make sure everything runs smoothly. There are limited numbers of tickets available.
Very limited.
It is
really, like we're down to, I think there might only be about 20 left. So if you want to go, get online today, because I think that sold sign will go up later on. It will be a brilliant night. I know I've seen what they've been doing in the background.
A lot of effort gone into
It'll be class. It'll be a great night.
If you've ever attended one of our awards nights, as many of you have, that's the level of professionalism. It's not the same night, but that's the level of professionalism.
Absolutely.
And things in terms of over Christmas plans, bathing away.
Yep.
There's lots of stuff going on. When's Christmas music starting?
Officially the 1st of December
really?
is kind
Has
of
anyone played one yet?
No.
Someone did it last year, and I thought, you bugger.
JB?
Was it? No, I don't think so. Someone did anyway.
Yeah, they were a bit early on it, yeah.
Was it Monday Night Sessions? I don't know. I remember going, hold on you second. I might just spoil the party.
I think the general rule is 1st of December, so next Monday
but that being
we'll start
said,
blasting.
We're in the cycle now.
Well, look, Geraldine, look at the work that Geraldine's done. And young Sarah yesterday too. It's a great job. It looks Christmassy. We're getting there, Greg.
Yeah, I might take a picture. Geraldine or Sarah helped her. I wasn't here yesterday.
Yeah.
There's a ribbon around the tree out in reception we have here, and I haven't really seen it in the flesh before. It really is classy. It's like a gold ribbon that sort of goes beautiful with white lights. Now, it's lovely with the coloured lights, but anyway,
I have to say on that point before we go here, I said, God, red would be lovely on that tree. Yeah. I was just told to go away.
Yeah, well, red or gold's interchangeable, I think,
The job she's done is fabulous.
But I love that ribbon.
It's lovely.
It's kind of a real American-y feel to it. All right, Sean, thanks for that back. Looking forward to some events which are Christmas-based. There's big things happening in Rafo and Buncrana. If you've got anything you need announced in terms of switch-ons or whatever, get them into us as soon as you can.
Teddy's Bar at the Silver Tassie Hotel, the ideal spot to catch up for cosy Christmas drinks by the fire and enjoy live music. The Silver Tassie Hotel, proud sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Attention all golfers, Black Friday is in full swing at McGurk's Golf. Enjoy massive savings on all the biggest brands, TaylorMade, Under Armour, Adidas, Callaway and more. Whether you're shopping for the perfect gift or topping up your golf gear, McGurk's Golf has you covered. Don't miss out. Visit McGurk's Letterkenny Retail Park today. McGurk's Golf, your game, our passion.
Have you got a great idea for your coastal community? The Flag North would like a word. We have significant funding for projects around Donegal that will help our coastline. Join us at the Free Flag North application workshop at the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny, December 2nd, with sessions at 10:30am and 1pm. Learn what gets funded, get help with your application and book one-to-ones with our team. Find out more at bim.ie. Your coast, your community, your call.
What if you could send a free chocolate bar in secret to someone special? Just to, give them a little lift. With the Cadbury Secret Santa postal service, you can send free chocolate secretly from a poster. They're popping up all over the country, from great big cities to quaint little towns. Look out for a poster near you or search Cadbury Secret Santa to find out more. 18 plus, free service on selected products while stocks last until December the 21st. For full terms and conditions, visit cadbury.ie.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybogue.com. Start every day with confidence.
Pandora's Black Friday promotion is here. Save up to 30% on charms and jewellery, plus daily deals, and get an early start to your holiday gift shopping. But hurry, this offer won't be around for long. Offer ends 1st of December. Available in participating stores and online at pandora.net while stocks last. Terms and exclusions apply.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Discover Christmas gift ideas for everyone on your list, from trending beauty to memorable Secret Santa gifts. Visit us in Ballybuffet to explore our extensive range of gifts or shop online at mcelhinney's.com today.
Okay, blustery with widespread showers, heavy at times with a chance of hail and isolated thunderstorms. Through the late afternoon and evening, there might be longer spells of rain. Just the worst thing I could have read out just as we head towards our next item. But winds will be moderate and, dress up well if you're going out. Joseph McCarran of Rafo Tidy Towns and Rafo Community in Action. If there is any rain, we're just going to have to bear it, Joseph, because a lot of preparation has gone into the event tonight. The switching on of the lights, and you've secured the services of the man himself.
That's right. We have the real Santa coming to Rafo this evening at 7 o'clock, and he's going to switch on the lights. That'll be the first time that Santa's done that here in Rafo. And we're very lucky because we have a huge big marquee supplied by Rafo Marquees, and all the entertainment and the mulled wine and the hot chocolate, that's all going to be undercover. So even if it is a bit rainy or windy, we'll be covered in the diamond.
Brilliant stuff. And it's not just tonight. There's a whole weekend of Christmassy activity.
Yeah, that's right. Tonight it starts off at 6, the Finn Valley Men's Choir, who bring a real traditional feel to the opening of the Christmas celebration weekend. And Christy Murray has got a team then of tin whistlers, and we have Eugene and Aoife McGinley and Tori Gilpin. And then on Saturday morning, the Christmas market will open. We have then involved all the community this year because there's going to be a parade from Deal College down to the Diamond with the football club, the hockey club, the scouts, all the different groups. And then Johnny Haughey will be kicking off the entertainment at 2. And again, then on Sunday morning, the Christmas market will open again for, the traditional Christmas wreaths, the Christmas bakes, home baking. We have a local artist, Eleanor Duffy, doing her stuff. And on Sunday as well, there is a new vendors. People that maybe can't make it on the Saturday, they'll be showcasing their stuff on the Sunday. And we're going to have a traditional Irish session then in the afternoon with the Diamond Bar Thursday night session musicians with Christy Murray, the Donegal Piper.
Well done to you.
So
what a fantastic weekend.
Yeah.
What a fantastic weekend for Rafo. Well done, Joseph. Thanks so much for your time. Nicholas Crossan, member of the Buncrana Christmas Lights Committee and a notorious timekeeper, joined. Are you muted there? I can't see. Anyway, if you are, unmute yourself. If you don't
think so.
No, you're not.
No,
I've got
okay,
you.
Greg.
Yeah, I've got you. Right now.
I'm just very quiet.
The big light switch on tonight, 7 o'clock.
Yes, we're very excited about our switch on this year. It's probably the highlight of the winter season. It is the highlight of the winter season for us. And I'm listening very careful to Rafo. We're saying the very best on their switch on as well. Santa will, because he's magical, he'll be with us at the same time around 7 o'clock sharp. We've also the Buncrana Fire Services bringing them up per usual, and there's a great excitement for the children. It's all about the children, Greg, and Buncrana. We have Disney characters. We have sweets for them. We have the Grinch, who is a bad article. We can't keep him out. He's back every year. And it's just a great time for the children, and we're looking forward. The volunteers or committee has put on stalwart work over the past 2 months, really, and worked long, hard nights for this night
so
to
the
happen.
lights are going on. The Santa's going to be there. He's going to fleet between the two in his magical way. The Grinch is knocking about. Live music, great entertainment. And just a note, not to be negative, for anyone who's out and about over the Christmas and might happen to be using this, have some respect for all the effort that's gone in, because unfortunately we do have to reflect a little bit about some vandalism in previous years that cost a lot of money, and this all is fundraised. No one's opening or shaking a magical tree here. So let's just get through this whole period where everything is taken down as it was put up.
Well, Greg, the way we're at Moncrana, we're firefighting really at the minute because the money that we spent on vandalism had happened last year. So what we had done this year, we had to invest maybe, or other than more lights, we have a few more lights, but we had to put in by security cameras. So anybody this year that was caught on a security camera doing anything, well, their name will, unfortunately, we have to pass on the information to the Gardaí, and we will be looking for recovery of damages.
So the only bad article knocking about will be the Grinch, and we have some level of control over him. Enjoy. Thanks very much, Nicholas.
Yeah, and just if I could just to thank everybody for their kind donations over the past couple of weeks. There are a few more to come in, Greg. Wrap up and turn up at 7 o'clock tonight at the Market Square in Buncrana, and thanks for your time.
Look after yourself. Great to see you as always. Dunfanaghy Christmas lights are switched on this evening between 5 and 7. That's the covering that period. So there's going to be Christmas markets, arts and crafts, food trucks, carol singing, hot drinks, and believe it or not, can you believe it? And this is how this guy gets around every single house on Christmas Eve to all the kids that behave themselves and go to bed when they're told. He's going to manage to squeeze in Dunfanaghy as well. So Santa's going to make it to Dunfanaghy tonight as well. And there's going to be a family quiz in the Outback at 9 p.m. So that's the Dunfanaghy Christmas lights switch on tonight from 5 p.m. Ramelton, they're switching their lights on Sunday between 6 and 8 p.m. So there's going to be a little lights parade, Christmas market, Santa's Grotto, this all at the Gamble Square in Ramelton. And it's going to be beautiful along the banks of the river there. So the official light switch on is actually at 7 p.m. in Ramelton, but you can get there at 6 p.m. Milford, they have a Christmas spectacular. There's a Christmas craft fair between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. at the Milford Parochial Hall. This is on Sunday. Face painters, local vendors, Christmas gifts. There's a parade of light from the Market Square at 4:30 p.m. on Sunday in Milford. Street performers, lantern parades for kids, music and bands. And then the lights themselves will be switched on with Santa and local choirs. Hot chocolate and mulled wine at Esther's. The Milford and District Resource Centre helping out in that wonderful event all day, effectively from noon in Milford on Sunday. And just to let you know that in Creasla, Christmas markets run on the 29th of November. That is tomorrow at the Hub from 5 p.m. There's lots going on. Christmas lights switch on at the 30th of November at the corner of the garden. Children's choir at 5, turning on the lights at 5:30 on Sunday. Santa meet and greet at 5:45 on Sunday. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back. Oh, winner of the spa. It's John Boyce in Carragart. Well done, John Boyce. You've won the Yonka Delight. Thanks to our friends at the Seascape Spa. Worth €155 for yourself or someone in your life. Right, John Breslin's coming up around the Northwest Live from Watson's Hire after the news.